This episode of Off My Shelf contains coarse language and adult conversation. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, my name is Tracy James, and welcome to Off My Shelf, a podcast about movies that are, well, off my shelf, where we go through my DVDs and talk about the movies in my collection. In this episode, Josh Ratcliffe is here to talk about a compulsive list maker and a hilarious homage to the action film with High Fidelity and Hot Fuzz. Welcome!
Hey!
How's it going?
Good, how are you? It's been about a year.
Yeah, it's been a while. Things are going really good. And because of that, I have more people wanting to do the podcast. So everybody's
cool.
Spread out more. And
That's
so
awesome.
People are just like, oh, I haven't done this in forever.
Yeah, I look like it's been a year. That's my favorite part of this. That I haven't, it looks like time has passed based on my little video screen. Like my hair is all long and
you got the bushy beard starting up there. Yeah.
Honestly, about 2 weeks ago, because I am a Montreal Canadiens fan, I didn't trim my beard for the playoffs, and they went all the way. So it was so uncomfortable in July to have a giant beard. So I was like, oh, when they lose, my consolation is I'm going to get to take this off.
Yes.
So this is actually a trim look compared to where it was
before.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Now I know the Montreal Canadiens are hockey. What was the outcome of that whole thing?
They lost in the finals.
Oh, okay. So your beard did not help them win, is what
it did not. No, nor did all the other things I did. Which was I ate pizza before every game with a Dr. Pepper. What else did I do? I think that was about it, but I had a tower of pizza boxes that went up past my waist.
Okay, but why is pizza and a Dr. Pepper part of the ritual?
So it was that they started winning, and I just happened to have done those things twice.
Okay.
And I was like, I guess I'll keep doing this. And then it became like a thing in my head that I had to do. And then it became me probably spending $300 on pizza in 2 months.
Oh my God. These sports rituals, people tell me all kinds of weird shit about sports ritual, like not washing your socks for some reason, or always making sure to step through a door backwards before the game or some nonsense. And I'm like, why do you think this is helping? Who is this helping exactly? This is just crazy.
I would 100% know it was silly, and it wasn't doing anything. These are all millionaires playing miles and miles away. Me eating pizza has nothing to do with anything. But it was an excuse for me to eat a lot of pizza.
I mean, that's a pretty good excuse to eat a lot of pizza.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't harming anybody except my my heart.
Yeah.
But watching hockey was doing the same thing. So.
Okay, so that is an acceptable excuse. I will accept that. Okay. The next time I want a movie to be good, I will make sure to just eat a whole chocolate bar before I watch it. That's it.
Exactly.
I like chocolate.
And that's the way you do it. You just got, I think I said at the end, that was good. Let's do that again next year. Maybe start winning after I start eating salads.
Yes. All of a sudden you lose 100 pounds and you're fit and you're just like, now I could be a hockey player.
Exactly.
And then get out there, you know? Yeah.
It's like Popeye.
Exactly. Eat all the spinach.
Yeah.
No, that's too close. Eat all the kale.
That's right. Yeah, eating all the kale.
Is that the new thing?
And then shooting lasers out of my eyes or something. What does kale do?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's hard to eat. I once somebody told me no, the reason why you don't like kale and you're doing is you have to massage the leaves before you cook it and then ingrain it with oils and stuff. And I was like, I'm giving it a back rub and then devouring it. That's crazy. What? Screw kale. I will do something else.
You need to treat your kale like a Greek hedonist from
yeah,
so you need to
future.
Feed it grapes on its chaise lounge. And,
it's the future. So hedonism bot will take care of my kale for me. It'll be fine.
It's kale's final form.
Here I am. Love it. Wow, we have started extremely off topic already.
That's right.
Which I thoroughly enjoy. As I sit here sweating in my very hot apartment already. It's great. It takes like 3 seconds. I turn off my fan. 2 minutes later, I'm just like, sweat's pouring from me. Yeah. I really do need to move and get somewhere that has air conditioning.
I think I just need a new air conditioner. Mine is so loud and barely functional. Like I have a pretty good sound system in my apartment, as I'm sure we'll talk about when we talk about this movie.
Yeah.
But it's still hard to hear stuff on the TV through it because the air conditioner is just going.
Yeah, I think you just need an upgrade at that point.
Yeah. Though there's one that's like cool, but they're expensive.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that's the biggest problem. Like, well, to be honest, I did used to have an air conditioner. And last summer, this is kind of a pointless and gross story, but my brother thinks it's hilarious. Like it's a really old air conditioner. It was like a hand-me-down from a friend of mine when I moved in here and they found I didn't have air conditioning. And it was loud and everything, but really maybe like 1 week of summer I would really use it. Like I'd really need to have it or else I would just die a horrible death in here. And but usually like during the winter and stuff, I'd be on my balcony and I would cover it with like a bag and all that kind of stuff. And it would be fine. Next summer, just vacuum it a little bit and then plug it in. Everything's good. And then last summer, so across the street from me, they're doing construction. They cut down all the trees. It was a little parquet. Now I have a pigeon problem. But at the same time last year, I forgot to cover my my air conditioner outside, and the pigeons took it upon themselves to shit in all of the vents. So now I just have this gross air conditioner on my balcony that I haven't had the heart to drag through my apartment and throw out yet because it's just disgusting. So yay! No air conditioning for me at all this year.
Nature finds a way to point out that you've made a mistake.
Yes, every time. They never let up. They're just like, no, it's 3 seconds. 3 seconds too late.
You knew you did. You knew we were supposed to do something. You didn't do it. Now you're gonna pay.
Yes. So yeah. So now yeah. But also even it's also like yours though. Like it's so old that it's so loud. And even if I had it on, I'd have to turn it off during this. And I guess I'd probably last like 15 minutes instead of 3 minutes. So that may have helped a little bit.
I think that my previous appearances were about 15 minutes, right? That's how long we went?
Yeah. Before the torture sent in. No, what's happening? I'm melting. Oh, I don't know. Apparently today I'm going to make random noises and pretend I'm different people. So it's good. It's good. We're starting high. We're starting high. Like high fidelity.
That's right. Oh yeah.
Segue. I do have to start getting better at segues because I tend to be like, and now we're done with that. We're going to go over here. No.
Well, I mean, if you could just somehow get the conversation to talk about Paul Blart, you can just segue into segues and then you have a segue.
I both love and hate that suggestion because any suggestion to talk about Paul Blart is horrendous. But any suggestion to segue through segues is amazing. So win-win. I am going to put it that way. Win-win. It's fine. We'll do it. Paul Blart. Awesome. Not so much. Sarcasm.
It's worse than you think.
Yes. I think I watched like 15 minutes of it. Like it was one of those things years later, it's on TV. And I'm like, I've never watched this. People said it was bad, but whatever. I've seen what's his face in Hitch. He wasn't that bad. It can't be so horrible. Yes, it was.
I've never seen a movie that's so mean to its own protagonist. It's so mean to Paul Blart.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him.
Oh, is that what it is? You're just like, I can't watch this because you're making me sad?
It's so mean. Like it's like whoever, like God of this movie, like whoever like wrote it and directed it just seems to want to hurt this poor man.
I mean, for a very long time, like if you were fat in a movie, the only purpose you were there for is for slapstick. So you'd you'd be punched, all of these horrible things would happen to you. And I guess that's what happened with Paul Blart. But I remember when the movie Spy came out with Melissa McCarthy, And she's a big woman, of course. And I was just expecting it to be exactly like that, like to be mean to her. Like she's just going to fall. She's just going to hurt herself. People are going to just be mean to her the whole time. And to be honest, they made her the most competent person in that movie. Yeah, a little bit of slapstick happens because it's a comedy, whatever. But it's not happening at her or to her. Things just kind of happen around her, and it's a situation. And I was like, oh my god, there's finally a change in writing for a large person in a comedy, especially where they're not just being tortured the whole time, you know. And yeah, so if you want to get the taste of Paul Blart in your mouth, I suggest watching Spy.
Spy's great. I like Spy a lot.
Yeah, it's good. I also love. I was also so surprised at like what's his name? Jason Statham. He was hilarious. I mean, I know he's always had that dry humor and everything, but yeah, there was something about this one that I was like, oh, you are funny. Okay, I get it. It's good.
Well, I mean, how long until he's in a Edgar Wright movie, right?
Oh my god.
I mean,
yes.
and not to step on our toes for a little later, but I think he would have been quite at home in the movie the second movie we watched.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. He would have been great in Hot Fuzz. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't know. I think Edgar Wright needs a lot more praise for what he does. And like people should just be like, yeah, I'm going to watch and be in his movies and do all of the things instead of cutting him from Ant-Man. That was bullshit. Whatever. That movie would have been great. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows it.
It's still got a couple glimmers of his stuff in it, I think.
Oh yeah. You can still see it in there, like stuff they didn't reshoot. They may have re-edited a little bit, but you could feel it. You could feel it. Just like John Cusack feels the pain in High Fidelity.
That's right.
Yes.
Yep. Top 5 segues.
Top 5 segues. That was number 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we started recording, you had mentioned you had so much to say about this movie.
Yes. It is a movie that I've watched since I was 14. Mm-hmm. I think I saw this when I was had just moved to Ontario, so probably 2013. So I was 15 or 16, I guess.
Okay.
And I was pretty attached to it pretty quickly. And then I kind of became this character for a little while, for better or for worse.
That's for worse, definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, and then it's like it's sort of survived a couple different critical reevaluations over the years, and it's gone a little bit back and forth. So I kind of watch it with some different eyes now. And I don't know how much, like, I'm quite the staunch apologist for this movie. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how well that's going to go over today. But that's why I wanted to watch it with a second person. Yeah. So that I could write down what she had to say about it. So hi, Natasha, you're probably listening to this. Yeah, so we'll kind of talk about it. I mean, I think there's a lot of questions around this movie that I think has a lot to do with film language. Mm-hmm. And it's very easily interpreted in different ways. So I think there's a good discussion around it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I remember watching this movie when it came out. I'm pretty sure I saw it in the theater, and thinking that everything in it was just so poignant and so interesting and so like, oh my god, you know, you have to understand yourself and blah blah blah, plus music, oh my god, you know, like all that stuff. And I watch it now and I'm just like, you are just so full of shit. What the fuck are you on? You know, right. The music is still good, I'll give you that. The music is still fantastic. That will not change.
Yeah, it's so much Velvet Underground. Yeah. It's so great.
It's so great. You know what's really shocking to me, like, all of the music they mention, I'm like, I love music, don't get me wrong. I am just very bad at holding musical information except for the actual song in my head. And so like I watch a movie like this and they just start naming off like songs and like artists, and I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck that is. Then I have to look it up, and then 3 seconds into the song I'm like, oh, I know this song, and then I sing the whole song like word for word and everything. And so like watching this, I get kind of frustrated because I have to like pause and be like, look up what song is this? What are the lyrics? Let me hear a couple seconds. Oh, I know this song. Okay, that is a good song. I'd put that on my list too. Like it's one of those things. But outside of that, yeah, like every other thing he says is stupid besides good music. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so I wouldn't blame you for not having to Google Ryuichi Sakamoto and Sig Sig Sputnik, which are name dropped in this movie.
Yes. What those ones I did not know when I listened to it, by the way.
Well, it's also like, and I'm similar, like I have a similar thing with The Simpsons where I was able to learn a lot of pop culture information because it was a joke on The Simpsons, and then I was able to piece it together later through other medium, and that's how I kind of remember things. This is a similar thing. Like I watched this when I was really developing a taste in music, and so like I may not listen to every single thing that he mentions, but I a lot of my I have a lot of overlap in terms of the references that are making. And a game I like to play is what records in this store do I own, when they're walking through the store at various scenes, more than it should be. But I mean, they actually have some pretty impressive things on the wall in there, actually. For 2000, especially, like this is sort of cusp of internet time. I mean, this was a little bit before the internet was everywhere.
Yeah, this was like just on the edge of like Napster being at like the height of its popularity and then getting sued by everybody, and then iTunes being started, kind of thing. It was just like in the middle there. So yeah, one thing I liked about this movie was like, I remember going to the record store and trying to find something new to listen to, and like, just like, you don't want the same thing. Like you'd walk into a store and be like, hey, do you want to listen to the Backstreet Boys? They're like, fuck no, get away from me. But at the same time, I'm not a gatekeeper for music or like that entertainment. Like I love all sorts of stuff, from like, I don't know, of course, like I'll be pretentious and say Beethoven or some nonsense, but then it goes to like ICP. I'm sorry, I like a couple other songs, and then you go to like Tupac and like Gnarls Barkley and all those kinds of stuff. I jump all over the place with my music. People sometimes think it's weird. They're just like, what the fuck are you listening to? I'm like, it's Tiptoe Through the Tulips. Don't you like Tiny Tim? What the fuck is your problem? Go away.
I'm married on the Tonight Show, guys. Don't you remember?
God, get your shit together. So that whole like going to the music store experience was always great. But then there's a Jack Black character who's like the gatekeeper for music, and in every type of nerd culture, there's always that guy, and you just want to fight that person. And I just wanted to fight Jack Black in this movie as well. Yeah, I don't know where it's going with this, but I ended up at Jack Black. I wanted to fight him, but I like going to record stores that are very few and far between now. But
yeah, if I get the like, if I'm taking my record up to the till and the clerk is just like, hey, I love that album, I feel so good. Like it's such a it's so stupid.
Yeah.
But it's such a like it's such a boost of confidence to get the pretentious record store jerk to give you the nod.
Yeah, there's a level of validation that comes through, right? I still remember when HMV on Yonge Street was open, and Childish Gambino had just put out Camp, which was technically his second album. But nobody hears his first album. I've listened to it. It's horrible. Don't bother. But the second album beautiful. But I walked in there and I asked this girl behind the counter who's got, you know what? I'm not going to describe her because it's going to sound like mean. So I'm not going to. But I asked her, I'm like, hey, do you have the new Childish Gambino album? And she looks at me like horns just grew out of my head. I just spit up blood on the counter. I'm melting into the floor. She's like, what is Childish Gambino? Like, you need to fucking relax, okay? I'm like, it's Donald Glover. He just put out an album. It was released today. I'd like to get it. And then she like angrily typed in the computer Childish Gambino. She's like, Childish isn't like a small child acting like bratty. Yeah, like child is CHI, Gambino. Duh. She's like, oh, apparently we have like 200 copies of it. Oh my God. And then she like walks up 4 flights of stairs and is on the edge of the classical music section in a corner. And I pick up one and I walk away. And in like 2 days, it's like, it's a #1 album. And I'm like, That bitch better be like, that girl knew what she was talking about. I did. I did. But
Well, I
yes.
mean, I can see why HMV is so strong and like fruitful business wise today. I was
Oh,
able to
yes.
survive the internet boom with aplomb.
Yeah. Oh my god. But I did spend a lot of time in HMV back in the day. Like every
Oh
day I'd go
yeah,
in there. Yeah. Not
I
just DVDs, music as well. Did
yeah,
all of the
no,
things.
I didn't have that many. I've never bought that many CDs.
Hmm.
But I do own a lot of records now. For the last like 10 years, I've been
Yeah.
doing vinyl. But yeah, I was doing digital stuff before that. I wanted
Hmm.
to, but I decided what was the more inconvenient and expensive way to experience music, and I went, here we go. I got it. It's the perfect way.
Yeah,
What can I sink all my money into?
I tried doing that, and that was my problem. I was like, this is way too expensive and it's too much money. So I own like 10 records, but I own like 200 CDs. And
Mm.
then, of course, my first thing when I buy a CD, it's the experience, just like reading a book, opening it up, looking through the little booklets and looking at the CD. Sometimes you get stuff in them. Like Beck was really good at that. He had a couple albums that came with like like a sticker book and like posters in it and all kinds of stuff and all the lyrics and everything, which was great. But then you'd get sad ones where it's just like, oh, it's just a piece of paper with the cover art on it. Fuck you, man. Want something cool.
Oh
But of
yeah, when you get
course,
the CD book and it's just like the one sheet, like there's no
yeah.
like open part to it. It's
And
just it's the worst.
it's so sad. You're just like, no, I want the experience. The whole reason for me buying the physical copy is to get more out of it, you
I
know?
need to see the little pictures, but maybe somebody like a little out of focus in the background, and I have to like wonder how important they are.
Like, who is that? What's going on?
Hmm.
Why are they there? Did they know that person was back there? Maybe it's a ghost. It's, just go through all the things in your head. Just let it happen. Um, but yeah, when I got a CD, the first thing I did was digitize it so it's easier for me to access. But I paid for it. I can do whatever I want with it. Thank you very much. But I was also on like the Napster train as well when that first started, spending like 2 days downloading one song. But I gotta admit, got lots of songs.
Yeah,
But
that system,
also,
that one system of a down song that was on Napster a billion times was awesome.
yes, it was. I think I probably still have a copy of that song on something somewhere. I would not be surprised. But yeah, no, there's been a couple of storage crashes, so there's definitely some gaps in my music, sadly. But yeah, I still have the CDs. I could just re-digitize most of it, and I was like, yay! I didn't lose too much stuff. It was fun.
No.
But yeah, no, I like music. Music is great.
Yeah, I mean, I've as I said, I have sunk all my money into round pieces of plastic in various forms for a long, long time. So, music has also been, it's actually been more that lately. I've kind of stopped buying movies for the most part. Because I kind of have everything on streaming. On occasion, I'll buy a Blu-ray still, but not that often. But I do buy a lot of records. I bought one a couple days ago, actually.
Oh, what did you buy?
I bought an album by a band called Calexico.
Okay.
They're like an indie band from around this time. Actually, it was the 20th anniversary edition of this record. So yeah, it came out around the 2000, which is the same year as this movie. And they sort of do kind of spaghetti western themes, kind of. So there's a lot of like mariachi horns and like dusty music kind of stuff. But there's also like some like indie rock dude lyrics and stuff. So it's neat. I haven't listened to it in a while. I just kind of saw it and it was on sale. So I picked it up and was like, sweet.
Well, I mean, going in the theme of the movie, what are some of your favorite albums that you own?
Oh, that's different. So top five albums I own. Okay. I think my favorite one that I like to show off with, by the way, we're going to really get into how close I am to these despicable people that we're talking about.
Okay.
This movie's actually I love this movie, but it's really hard for me to watch. because it cuts real close to the bone in some places.
Oh no.
And like emotionally speaking, it's the reason I like it is because it's very emotionally true to like some feelings that I have felt. I don't necessarily agree with his actions, but I see like emotionally where he's coming from and where the people are coming from.
Yeah.
Anyway, so top 5 records I own. Let's see. I think the one I kind of go with most is it's a Neil Young Live at Massey Hall 1971, which is I think just around the time he was putting out Harvest. He did like a solo show at Massey Hall, and it's recorded gorgeously. It sounds like you're in the room with it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, you can hear his hands moving from fret to fret. Like that's how close it is. I think maybe Silver Jews American Water, I think it's called, which is actually in the record store in this movie a couple times.
Okay.
In the background. Let's see, what else do I have? I'll give you a non-pretentious answer. I have a copy of Smashing Pumpkins' Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
Okay.
Which I'm really happy to have because that's a one from when I was a kid that I really like. Let's see, maybe. Oh, I've got a couple like Japanese Beatles imports that I brought back from Tokyo. Those are pretty cool. They're like original mono mixes on this like red vinyl, which is supposed to keep away dust, I think.
Oh, okay. That is cool.
Yeah. So that was that, and it's also like a fun memory from that trip because that was something an activity that I did while I was there. Let's see what else I have. Maybe I have a 3-disc version of OK Computer by Radiohead.
I love that. Oh, love that one. Yeah.
So I think I'd probably round that one out with it.
Yeah. So my question is, so based on your description of each album that you've mentioned, there are very different criteria as to why they're on your list. Like one is like memories and it's just cool to look at. And one is just like, it sounds really cool, you know? Yeah. One is, it's just interesting. And one is like, I just like that album. Right. Yeah. So is that how you like go through your music, or like what makes you pick something to listen to more often than something else? Like, is it like the actual songs? Is it the quality? Is it the lyrics? Is it just the artist? Like,
oh, that's a very difficult question. I'm not really much of a lyrics person. I'll enjoy a clever bon mot. Oh God, I hate myself right now. I'll enjoy that every once in a while. Like, you ever listen to the Hold Steady?
I don't. As I was mentioning, saying words to me sometimes. But if I heard it, I'd probably be like, oh yeah, there's a very good chance that would actually be my response.
Yeah. So they're sort of like a kind of a southerny rock band. I think with like kind of that kind of aesthetic, but like the lyrics are very kind of like story based.
Okay. So
like it'll be like a story song, or the whole album will be kind of like one kind of concept. So I enjoy stuff like that. I'll also enjoy a very obtuse lyric set where I have no idea what any of them means. Because I mean, for the most part, I kind of enjoy lyrics as a musical instrument.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just kind of like the way that the voice sounds in relation to everything else. But yeah, I mean, if I go back and listen to stuff that I listened to when I was a teenager, I go, oh God, these lyrics are terrible.
Oh yeah.
Like but like at the time I didn't really pay that much attention to them because I just liked the way that the groove went, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I realize I'm very much like that, where the first thing that gets me hooked on certain songs and stuff is usually like the actual sound of it. But there always comes a point, like if I don't like how it sounds or it sounds okay, I end up focusing on the lyrics. And if the lyrics are bad, I'm out. Like that's fucking stupid. I'll see you later. So like one has to distract from the other in some way. But if like the actual sound is bad, but the lyrics are really good, I'll get into it. And when those two things come together, French kiss, like it's art. It's a meal of music. Like it's good. Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, I move around with things. I mean, because that's the only reason why I'd be really into like LMFAO for some reason.
Mhm.
Fucking love them. But it's not just that the music is awesome, but if you actually listen to the lyrics, they're saying some stupid things in some surprisingly clever ways, and you're just like, I can't not like this, you know? Whereas you listen to like some Adele or something where it's deep and meaningful and blah blah blah,
Mhm.
and it's melodic and everything, but it's the lyrics that pull you in, you know, like it's the fall on the ground, clutching the sky and pulling it down kind of music, and you're just like, I'm into this now. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll enjoy like a wry lyric. I think that's the kind of the thing, the thing that I point out in lyrics that I like. I think
Mm-hmm.
when it's kind of like dryly funny, I enjoy those.
Yeah.
Like I listen, like last summer, I listened to a lot of John Prine. You
Mm-hmm.
ever listen to John Prine?
I've
Um,
heard the name. I can't
yeah,
say I do
he's sort
though.
of like a folk country kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
He died early in the pandemic
Oh
from
no.
COVID.
Okay.
So it sort of was just like a lot of people were talking about him, like, oh, I've sort of been on the periphery of this, but haven't really gotten too deep. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he has songs that are just like really funny.
So.
But in like a way that like you kind of have to like really listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has a song about like what he wants to happen when he dies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about like what body parts to give to various people.
Is he a
And I think
Ferengi? Like, what is
yeah,
happening?
well, it's sort of just like um um the one that I like, the one that
Yeah.
makes me laugh every time is "Give My Knees to the Needy." Just like a really silly, it's really silly, but it harmonizes in a really fun way with itself,
Yeah.
and it makes me laugh.
Okay. See,
Um,
now this sounds like something I would actually really enjoy.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he has another song that's just it's called "Dear Abby," and it's all about he prefaces it with him reading a newspaper in an Italian airport or something,
Mm-hmm.
and it was his old friend Dear Abby. So the song is just written as a Dear Abby column, and
Oh,
then her
okay.
response is the chorus, and then it does another one. So
Mm-hmm.
it just like goes like or it's like it's just someone complaining and then Dear Abby responds, and that's the call and response kind of thing. It's a really neat song.
Oh,
But
I
also one that's like funny.
yeah, I do like a high concept song that just works.
Yeah.
That is that is awesome. I think that's also one of the reasons why I like Radiohead so much, because all of their music is very high concept, and it's
Mhm.
very like lyrically, and like it's got really complex sounds to it and stuff. And like I had heard some of their music before OK Computer, but OK Computer was the first album of theirs I actually like bought and listened to from beginning to end, and just lost my mind about it, which made me look more into their stuff. But the problem, like for me, their stuff before that, too much of it is too hard or metal, or
Mm.
it's just very heavy in a certain way that it's like, even though the lyrics are there and stuff like that, like I find it hard to physically listen to.
Mhm.
But a lot of the songs that are in there just awesome at the same time. So I just pick and choose from their stuff before OK Computer, and then after OK Computer, I'm just like, I can listen to all of this. But I think that's when they did, like, they still have like the guitars and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff in there, but it went slightly more digital sounding, which kind of like calmed the ear piercingness of some of their stuff from before that.
Yeah.
So like I like complex, high concept art
Yeah, it
in
I
some
I think
levels.
Radiohead is a neat example because they follow a similar trajectory to the way the Beatles did,
Mm,
where they start as a good band for sure, but they're not really breaking that many molds yet, right? They're sort of like they're doing kind of pop music, very high quality pop music that's really good,
mm,
but then they kind of do a turn, and I think with the Beatles it's Revolver, and with Radiohead it's OK Computer,
yeah,
where it's sort of that's like their transition album, and everything after that is completely different from the stuff they did at the beginning.
yeah,
And then the Beatles did Sergeant Pepper, and Radiohead did Kid A, which is
yes,
just like completely different out there, like stylistic changes and
Mm-hmm.
completely crazy production. And then they sort of kind of evolved from that point. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, a lot of bands kind of follow that kind of trajectory as well. But Radiohead's probably the best one as an example that I can think
Yeah.
of.
Well, I mean, like, I think Beck kind of fits in there as well.
Sure.
Well, I mean, I think Beck from the start was extremely experimental. But his early experimental stuff is just, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like Alexander McQueen. Oh, I'm gonna talk design now. It's kind of like Alexander McQueen, where his early stuff was like, it was different, but it was ugly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like when they finally refined that difference and they refined it to such a beautiful aesthetic, you couldn't not find it wonderful. And I think that's where Beck went, because he had so many influences and so many ideas and so many things, where his early stuff, like, I mean, it was before like Loser and everything. Like his I'm an indie guy and I'm gonna writhe around on stage and have my guitar on fire shit. Like it was a lot of noise, and
Oh
he just
wow,
kind of didn't know how to like perfect all of the influences he was getting. And then when Loser came out and he had like I listened to a story about like how he did it, and like the producer that came in and helped him sort of like, no, move this around, do some lyrics, all this kind of stuff, because Loser was done in like some guy's house. And it was like a lot of freestyling and stuff, and like most of the lyrics make no sense, but the sound is there, the voice is there, and he evolved from that point on, right? You know, like with like Odelay and all that kind of stuff.
He's
And then he just
continued
sort of
to rock the plastic like the man from the casket.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you listen to too many Beck lyrics, I mean, what does there's a devil's haircut in my mind? What does that mean? But you accept it because it sounds so good. Like it's just, and especially if you watch that music video as well, and he's just walking around the city and like pop out things, and he starts screaming at the end, which I always find a little difficult. But up until that point, it's a perfect song for me. I love it.
I love Odelay.
Or one song of his that I absolutely love, which is not a popular song. It was never released, but it was on his album. Sex Laws.
It's on Midnight Vultures.
That's Midnight Vultures. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. It's Deborah, which is like this crooning song at the end. And I fucking like, to me, to this day, it is like my favorite Beck song. And I will stop everything I am doing to listen to that song when it comes on. I'm like, no, shut shit off. No, we're being shh. Deborah, like it's so good.
That song is really, but that's another one that's really funny.
It's very funny. I said, lady, step inside my Hyundai. Like, yes.
Well, like Deborah is the I want to get with you and your sister. I think her name's Deborah.
Yeah.
That's an incredibly stupid thing to say. Like, that's the main lyric of the song.
But I mean, like, but what I love about this song too is that it's storytelling. Like he tells a story. He's like, I walked into the store, the girl at the counter's hot. I walked up to her with a fresh pack of gum, looking for someone to love. And you're just like, no. And you know, I think her name is Deborah. You know, I'm gonna pick you up. We're gonna get in my Hyundai. We're gonna go to the place with that really good chicken. Wait, where's Deborah? What about Deborah? You know, like it just keeps going like that. But there's so much passion in that song, like the way it's sung, the way the music is behind it. You're just like, yes, this is what I am looking for in every way, shape, or form, you know? So yeah. Beck is up there for me, as you can tell.
That is a very difficult record to get a hold of too.
Oh,
it has been out of print for years and years, and I think you would if you want to get it on vinyl, it's like $200.
Ooh, that's actually one of the few things I would probably pay that kind of money for sure. Like I have the CD. It came with a little booklet. It's got all the lyrics in it and stuff. It's great. But yeah, if I could get something like that, that'd be very cool.
It's on
Yeah.
my list of things to look for. I've
Oh,
been eagerly awaiting a reissue.
I don't know if he's the kind of person who would do that, but I don't think it wouldn't be up to him. It'd be the record company, really, right?
Yeah, I mean I have his other ones that I care about,
Mm-hmm.
which they did reissue. They were hard to get a hold of for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
but they did a reissue campaign, but they didn't do Midnight Vultures for some reason.
Oh,
Still
interesting.
hard to get.
But that's a great album. People, a lot of people were upset because it was a little too disco-y
Mhm.
or a little too like kippy 70s kind of sounding for them. And because that was right after like he just did a full departure from his previous album, which was kind of hip-hoppy
Mhm.
ish, but I find with Beck every single album has its own vibe. Like he's got this um like even like Morning Phase, which was like purely atmospheric, and then he
Yep.
did Colors, which was like a dance album, and then but like every single song is clearly Beck. Like you're just like, oh, this sounds like Beck, this sounds like something he would do. But I think he just gets like a full idea and a full concept in his head, and he's like, this is what I'm working with now, this is what I am making. And he doesn't stick with like, no, I'm a rapper, or I croon, or I'm a rocker. Like he doesn't bother with that kind of stuff. He's like, no, this is what I'm feeling, and this is
Right.
what you're getting.
Did it go Odelay, Mutations, Midnight Vultures, or Midnight Vultures then Mutations?
I think it's Midnight Vultures and Mutations.
Okay. Because like I guess Mutations sort of goes along with Sea Change a little bit. Like it has a similar kind of vibe, but and so does Morning Phase. So he goes like he sort of has that mode a little bit, like the kind of the downbeat mode.
Well, he did Hyperspace, which I haven't listened to yet, which upsets me. So Odelay was 1996, Midnight Vultures was 1999. Oh no, Mutations was first. It was
It was in
1998.
between. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't
I really
remember.
liked Modern Guilt and The Information as well.
Okay, I think
Those
I
two albums are
okay.
really
I
awesome.
remember liking Guero a lot for a
Mm-hmm.
period. I haven't really done much after that one.
Yeah, Guero is I
It's
don't
another
know.
Dust Brothers one.
Yeah, but I don't know how to describe how I feel about it without sounding a little saying a bunch of stereotypes about people who are Latin American. I'm
Oh,
just
I
gonna put it
see.
that way.
I
But
thought you were gonna go pretentious, and I'm like, we're gonna talk about high fidelity for like we're just doing the movie now.
exactly, exactly. Wait, which albums are going to take to a desert island with yourself? It's yeah. One thing I did remember while watching this movie is like the part where he's like reorganizing his album collection at home, for like significance or whatever.
Mhm.
I, as a foolish person, did this several times.
Mhm.
Of course, I settled on alphabetical because that makes sense.
Yeah.
But originally, I had switched it around so everything was in chronological order of release.
Oh, okay.
And then I decided to switch it around to like how I feel about it. So like the first ones are the ones like I feel really good about, and like at the end would be like, ugh, these movies suck. I got about halfway and gave up because I'm like, I can't do this. All these, especially the movies in between, like the top was easy, the bottom was easy, but everything in the middle, which was like 300 DVDs,
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know what. No, I just couldn't do it. So then I just went back to alphabetical like a smart person and
Oh.
and left it at that. Yes.
I have done autobiographical order, but not because of this movie. The actual reason I did is laziness.
Oh.
And it's that I just bought a new thing and then I just put it on the shelf.
Oh. Wait, that's not autobiographical. That's more along the line of it's chronological, but not of release, just of a purchase.
Of when you bought it. Yeah, no, that's what he's doing in the movie. He goes it's auto. I have to, if I want to find Joni Mitchell's Blue, I have to remember that a girl in college bought it for me in the spring of 1992 or whatever it was. Like it's like that's how it works. His collection is gigantic in this movie.
Yes.
It has to be well over 1,000. Because I've got about 400 records. And it fits in like it mostly fits in a IKEA like 4x2, and he's got like 5 of those.
Yeah, I actually had a friend who's he's a DJ is what it is, and his basement, his whole basement wall was lined with those like the IKEA 4x2s, and it was all full.
Yeah.
And I was like, A, this is music heaven. And B, how do you find anything in here that's fucking crazy? And he's the kind of person who'd be like, yeah, I'm looking for like a kind of downbeat, kind of funky. And he just walk to a square, stick his arm in, pull something out. And I was like, how do you even know that is there? Like, how is this even possible? And he'd always find everything he was looking for. It was very rare that he had to be like, this one. It was just like, no, just in and out, in and out. Like, what?
Well, I've been buying records for like 10 years, and I do not consider myself to be a true crate digger, because those guys, like people that are DJs, that's who should be buying these things.
Yeah.
They buy it for one sound on it. Like, that's what's awesome, is like when there's like, I just like the bell, and I'm just gonna buy it.
There's
like, I like song. The bell on track 3.
Yeah. Yeah. In the background, there's like that ding.
Yeah.
Ding. That's fucking dope, man. Pull that one out.
Like, that stuff's awesome. Like, and then like I would assume that they was like, and then I toss it out. Like, I just like digitize that one thing, and then those are the guys that use the dollar bins.
Yeah, because they're not looking to spend money and keep these records for extended periods of time or anything. They're just like, pick a song out of it. We're done. Let's go. But I love like the mind of like a DJ or like a guy who does a lot of sampling and like music and stuff. How they just like hear two completely different things, completely separate from each other, and can just paste it together in their head. And they're just like, this will be amazing. Yeah. Blah, blah. And like me, half the time when they explain it to me, I'm like, why would you think these two things will go together? That doesn't make any sense. Then they do, and you're just like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you mentioned Gnarls Barkley. I mean, that's Danger Mouse, right? Like, that's his whole thing.
Yeah. Gnarls Barkley is just, they really should have put out more albums as Gnarls Barkley, to be honest.
Yeah. Did they just do 2, or did they only have 1?
It's 2. They did 2. It was
Saint Elsewhere
and The Odd Couple.
I don't remember that one.
Odd Couple was the second one, and I actually do like it more than the first. But both albums are fantastic. Like, they're just amazing. But like, I think half of it has to do with just like CeeLo Green's like voice. You know, like even him from like what is it, Mobb Deep he was part of before. Then
he was in Mobb Deep? I didn't know that.
Yeah, is it Mobb Deep that he was in? I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Oh, okay. That's news to me. I like them.
CeeLo Green. I may totally be saying the wrong. Oh, Goody Mob. Sorry. Goody Mob, not Mobb Deep. Oh God, I was so bad with that. Yeah, Goody Mob.
And no, that's an unforgivable mistake.
Yeah. Get out.
They're so far away from each other.
They really are. Oh, shit. I knew Mob was part of it, and Mobb Deep came into my head first, okay?
Oh, the wires that are crossed in my head for that kind of stuff is insane. So, like, I was teasing. It is not. That is completely reasonable.
Yeah, but he came from there. Then he did a lot of like producing of stuff. Then he did Gnarls Barkley, and then of course he did his own album. Now he's on TV doing strange things. Yeah. But to be honest, like Lady Killers, the one that Fuck You is on, that's the only song that really stuck. Besides Bright Lights, Big City, got a lot of. It ended up on quite a few soundtracks for like films and things. That album is fantastic, and I don't understand why like it didn't do more than it did. Yeah. But I think people listening to the songs that released on it had a very specific impression of what it was supposed to be. Right. And each song on that they go together, but each song is very different. And
it's sort of like a hip hop neo soul, right?
Yeah.
It's neat. I think like that kind of like that has a bit of a niche now. Like the neo soul stuff, like Charles Bradley, who died I think a couple of years ago. But yeah, there's like an indie resurgence in like that kind of stuff.
Well, I think for me, my big problem with a lot of music right now, as I make myself sound very old, is like lyrically, they're shitty. There's too much auto-tune, so it sounds shitty. And then the music, all sounds the same. Like, it's all the same beat. And I'm totally down with new music. Every once in a while, I pick out a new... Like, I'm surprised. I like a couple of Doja Cat songs. It blows my mind, but I do like them. Like, they're good songs, you know? They're just, like, they got funky beats and all that kind of stuff. And then there's, like, what's her face with the green hair and the bad guy song and stuff. Billie Eilish. I do like a couple of her songs, but a couple of her songs are just a little overly depressive and woe is me. And I'm like, get over it. You know, everybody's pain... Is it in this movie where it's like everybody's pain is their worst pain or something? I heard this recently.
I don't know, but that's like a pretty solid sum up of the movie. And actually kind of my defense of it in a way. As I said, like I think that he's having a rough time.
But what do you think what do you think about his character though? Like, what do you think about Rob?
Okay. So, I think he's a narcissist for sure. But I don't really know if I have a defense of him as a person.
Okay.
My defense is that I don't know if the movie takes his side, and that's my question.
I don't think the movie takes his side either. I think it tries to quote unquote present him as he is. But who he is an asshole. So they didn't try to glamorize it, I think.
Yeah, but also like the movie is so from his point of view as well. So it's kind of, but it has moments where you're outside of it. And I think that those moments that you're outside of him are really damning to him as a character, which I find a really interesting thing that I've only noticed as an adult.
But do you think that is because they wanted to give a perspective of what other people are seeing of him? Because, I mean, no matter who we are, we believe we are doing the best we can.
Yeah.
And other people outside of that are trying to do the best they can. And sometimes those things clash heads, right? And he does have a couple of epiphanies, like his first girlfriend. He's like, I was an asshole for dumping her because she won't have sex with me because she wasn't ready. Like, he gets to that point, but he still goes and asks her later, and she was just like, because he's feeling bad about himself, and she's like, no, you were a dick. You were mean to me. I didn't reject you. I didn't do anything to you. I was honest, and you walked away. And how the fuck can you just come up to me and tell me this? And you didn't even care the shit that happened to me afterwards, you know? Yeah. And it's true. And then he was like, oh shit, I was the one rejecting. I wasn't rejected. Yeah. Great. But then he still goes back to the other girlfriends being like, well, it's me. Why did you leave? I was rejected.
So I think that that whole thing that you described is probably the most sticky point of the movie for a lot of people. It is a very rough story.
Oh, it is.
That does not make it. That is probably makes him look the worst of anything else in it. However, so that it ends with a very damning her confronting him, right?
Yes.
It's sort of then a joke in a weird way, right? Because it's sort of like you're supposed to think that he's devastated by what she said, and I think as an audience are meant to be devastated as well by what she said, because it was really sad.
Yeah.
But then he only thinks about himself afterwards.
Yeah.
And I think that is presented as a joke in the movie, but like as a Seinfeld joke, where the joke is that he's callous.
Yeah, and that they're gonna have the little like after he says whatever, and
where he's like, "Oh, that's a shame."
Yeah,
like that's which is mean and callous, and he is probably not very redeemable. But I don't think that the movie is taking his side in much of this, and I think that that's important.
Yeah, no, and I agree with it, because, and I think that's why he is such an asshole, is because the movie, a lot of the movie is technically from his perspective, but at the same time, the movie is not softening who he is in any way, shape, or form. And so it does show that he's self-censored and he's an asshole. But even by the time he gets to the end of the movie, where he's got Laura back, he's quote unquote happy, but all his pontificating to the audience is, well, I think it was time I should just stop and take what I have and blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm just going to settle because I'm tired, essentially is what he said. He's not really happy. He's not thinking of Laura. He's not thinking of the situation. He's just like, I went through this thing and either I'm going to die alone or I can put up with Laura is essentially what he says. And to me, that makes him more of a dick because it means he didn't learn anything from the experience in the film. He didn't change in any way. He's not considering Laura, this girlfriend who's just like, I just want you to care about something. I just want you to be a better person. And I have changed because my life is moving somewhere. I am doing something. And if you want to come with me. If you don't want to come, you can go fuck yourself because I'm not going to let you hold me back. And to him, he's like, she's rejecting me. No, she's not rejecting you. She's giving you options. She wants you to reflect on yourself, which he quote unquote does. But he learns nothing from it because they'll get back together. And in 2 years, he's going to resent her because she's still going to be moving up in her career as a lawyer. He's still going to be at the record store, getting kids off the street and releasing albums, quote unquote.
That makes it sound so much more nefarious than what actually happens in this movie.
I don't know, man. Oh, yeah. Oh, getting kids off the street. Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
And quote unquote, putting out their records.
But
that's what he actually does do in the movie.
That's what happens. So wait, did I do quote unquote wrong? What did I do?
I'm quote unquote sitting here and
really, I'm skydiving.
Like, wait, what are you doing?
But yeah, like I think if we followed the story more in 2 years, they're broken up again because he's still being a dick and is mad at her for like quote like ruining his life, and she's still advancing in her career and doing what she needs to do.
Well, Nick Hornby, the writer of the novel that this movie is based on, was asked, did Rob and Laura stay together after the story ended? And he goes, oh God, no.
Like watching this movie, it's just so obvious to me. I'm just like, you're wasting people's time. Just go away.
Yeah, I'll give him a little. I'll be a devil's advocate a little bit here for him. I kind of watched it last night, and I put it through the lens of this is somebody that truly hates himself, and he is ruled by his own feelings of sexual inadequacy. And that is just drive. Like I'm watching his brain go off the rails in various points of the movie. Like there's multiple scenes where he's just walking through the rain screaming, right? Like he is having a nervous breakdown at various points. And so like I kind of questioned his reliability. And that like usually a movie, the if you have an unreliable narrator, usually they're making themselves look better or telling the story in a way where they're the hero. But what if it's someone that truly despises themselves and just hate where they are in their life and knows that they're ruled by these things that they can't control within themselves? Would that make them look worse?
Well, in this case, it did. Yeah. Because like he is definitely trying to show how much pain he is in and like all of the things that he's gone through, and this is why he's in so much pain and he's so cynical and all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, all of the actions he takes that he believes he has done, that he is showing us to be true, this is what I did, are also asshole things to do. So as a person who truly hates himself, they're not sugarcoating any of the things that they've done. They're not putting it out there that, oh no, like, I went by her and she told me her sad story and I felt bad about it. No, he's just like, no, it's like she said, and I was like, I'm going to think about myself for 10 minutes now, even though she just told me she was date raped and it was not a good experience. And she didn't give it up to some random dude. It was nothing like that. He never checked in on her.
Yeah.
He's going to think about himself instead of going like, reflect. Like, what I actually did was reflect. And I took her home and made sure everything was okay. And I apologized and blah, blah, blah. As a person who hates himself, they're just like, they're gonna say what they actually did. And he knows what he actually did was wrong, and he just still put it out there because he hates himself. So like I see your argument, but at the same time, it kind of goes to my perspective. Whereas if you're a narcissist, like you hate yourself, you're gonna put that out there. No matter what.
it's this movie does fit into sort of my own psychology in that I hate myself, but I still think I'm better than everybody else.
Yes.
Which is a really weird, unique situation.
It's a very interesting thing to admit on a podcast as well.
It's a quote that I do. It'll be on my gravestone, I'm sure.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, like, I know I'm pretentious. I try not to act it out. But but also like the reason I say I identify with this movie so much is because I feel those things. I don't necessarily act on them or act the same way as the character does. But it does make me cringe watching it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I know what he's doing. Like it's sort of like, it's just like a knowing, like a lot of people in this movie make decisions based on sadness. Which is usually self-destructive in my point of view. So like there's a lot of people in this movie making bad decisions. Like Laura makes bad decisions too. Like she goes to stay with Raymond, who is awful as well.
Yes.
By the way, every time he is on screen, I cackle with laughter. Is so
I forgot it was Tim Robbins, and then first time you see me walks in with this little ponytail, and I was like, oh my god, what is that? And then I just start laughing at it.
And the rings, and he has a picture of himself in like a karate gi.
Yeah,
like it is just the weirdest, biggest character for this movie.
It is,
and it's 100% like he's in his own world, and it's so funny. I forget what point I was trying to make with that. So
Laura's bad decisions. Yeah.
So like, and she kind of bails pretty quickly and then doesn't really do much with it, and then immediately shacks up with somebody else and lies about it. And she's not great either. And then she gets back together with him because she's grieving. It's just a lot of people making bad decisions out of their own misery.
Yeah, and I think like even with the Jack Black character as well, like he is clearly a person who is alone and angry and also thinks he's better than everyone else. And he takes that out on I forget the other coworker's name, the skinny bald guy, who is literally just like, I like music and I like talking to people and I'm here. And he at the end, he's the one who seems the happiest in the whole thing, right? Because he's just like, yeah, I met somebody who's really nice and I'm going to go on a date. Yeah, you're going to make fun of me. I don't care. I'm still going to go and I'm going to hang out with her. And she's great. I can talk about music and she just make fun of me and we get each other.
We can talk about Roseanne together.
We can talk about yes. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like all the main characters in the movie are so broken and so lost. Whereas like all of the background characters, they end up being background characters because they're like, I'm not participating in your destructiveness, essentially.
Right. Yeah. No, there's multiple people that come in and are just like, you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And then they'll leave. Or like the guy that they sell I forget his name. The guy that they sell the Captain Beefheart Save His Milk album to, that they didn't sell to the dork.
Oh yes,
yeah. And he's just like, you guys are just snobs. Like you just think you're unappreciated and nobody knows as much as you do, guys, and you're better than everybody else. And they're like, yeah. And he's like, and then that's the end of him, and he leaves. And like I do find it interesting that, like, remember I talked about Paul Blart as I've never seen a movie so mean to its own protagonist. This movie isn't quite as mean. It's not as obvious about it. It's not like making him fall down all the time, but it is it is like critical of this person that is our first person narrator. It's interesting to me. I find it's changed modes as I've watched it in the last 20 years.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
I have not read the book that this is based on. Have you? Like,
I
because
have not.
okay, yeah, because I want to figure out if it has that same kind of voice, but also because I've watched this movie many times, I kind of refuse to read the book because I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need more of this.
I would venture, just based on books. I mean, this is completely talking out of my ass. But I would say it's probably worse. And
Oh, you think he's meaner?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that the movie would have to be softer than you would have to be in a book. And I think books also have a more robust tradition of kind of unreliable narration and kind of despicable first person narration, where like it's very much a person's id on a page. Movies tend to be, in my opinion, received as more omniscient.
Yeah.
And more of a presentation of the world as it is.
Well, I think because in the book you don't have to what do you call it? Like edit or filter through. Like, I think that's why it's the id, as you mentioned. Yeah. Because if you're inside someone's mind, they don't edit it. They don't edit what's in their mind. They edit what comes out of their mouth. And yeah, that's that. Because I think, in certain scenes where he's pontificating at the screen, in the book, it would be clear that they're just like, we're in your brain right now. We know what you're actually thinking, and it's not whatever you're saying right now. Or it's worse than what you're actually saying right now. That kind
exactly.
Of thing.
Yeah. And that's what I think that this movie is in a lot of cases. I think that this movie does dip its toe in that, where it's like he's saying some really horrible things that we may have thought but never said out loud. But my question really, it's like, and all of my discussion around this movie last night when I was with my girlfriend was what does the movie want us to think?
I think personally, because this is an American production of a British book, American films tend to want you to like the protagonist in any way, shape, or form. And I think the way it's presented, even though after watching this movie several times, we both have come to the conclusion this guy's an asshole and we don't like him, essentially. But they want to present him in a certain way that you're like, oh no, at first glance, he's likable and you feel his pain. Like, that's just what they're going for. Where in reality is, if you do analyze it and you do look at it, you see that he's not a good person. And I think if if we stuck with the book and more of like the dry British feel to it, I think
more Sex Pistols references, I'm sure.
Probably. I think it would have been, they wouldn't have a problem with you hating the protagonist off the bat. Like, I don't think that would have been an issue. And like, I don't really know what you're supposed to take from this movie, whether you like him or not, because by the end of the movie, nothing's really changed. Nothing's evolved. He's said a bunch of like platitudes, just to get through things, but it was nothing actually important. It was nothing worthwhile. It was nothing,
I actually think there is one turning point in it. And I think it is a little bit different after that. I think it's at Laura's father's funeral. He does a monologue to the camera about himself, which you're just like, Jesus, dude, you're at someone's funeral and you're talking about getting late or whatever it is. But then there's this long, very slow zoom in on him, and the only audio is Laura crying.
Oh yeah, and he waves off the camera.
And he looks over and he just kind of stares. And it's kind of the only time he shuts up in the movie. And it's sort of it's an interesting moment, and I feel like that's his moment where he realizes he has to think about somebody else.
That's the moment he shows he has some empathy, I guess.
I think but like it depends. Like, I think the movie is pointing at that being a big change. And that is the we're going back up and where he's going to be a better person, like that was his turning point. Now he is a person that obviously is in some sort of stunted growth cycle. Like
Yeah.
he admits at the beginning of the movie that his 14 he hasn't his relationships hasn't changed since he was 14, which to me is an admission of I'm broken inside. This is not that's not something a person says as being like this is right. And you could debate whether or not that he's going to change. I mean, he sort of does go back a little bit. He slides back a little bit, but I think that that's a emotionally truthful thing, right? Where you can do one thing and then you'll kind of, what am I doing? And then go back, and then it's a slow burn. But yeah, I mean, he's producing at the end too. And I mean that in a literal way, in that he's actually contributing something to the thing he loves, which is a big step. And speaks to me as a person who has been obsessive about pop culture for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like to me, that would be a big thing, right? Like the professional appreciator actually putting something into the world.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. Where, well, because even the whole like the Jack Black character thing, where he actually gets like a stage performance, and people are just like, "Oh my God, you can sing!" Like that whole thing. Like each one of them gets something out of it by opening themselves up for a minute to accept that change. But then at the same time, 5 minutes after that,
Yep.
at the end, you're just like, oh, you're still thinking about yourself and you're full of shit. And you're just like, I'm settling right now. It sort of shows that he backslides very quickly.
Yeah.
Because like even in that scene, he's just like, he's Laura's in his arms, they're smiling, they're like, it's a good time. Like, you know, I love this, I want this. And then 2 seconds later, he's just like, I mean, well, I guess I should stop. I'm old enough, and she's here and she's smiling at me now, so I guess she's happy. So maybe I can do something, possibly. I don't know. But for today, she's here and I'm here. Okay, bye. Like that's not accepting a position. That's not accepting responsibility. That's not accepting a future. That's giving up and holding it someone else responsible for it.
Oh, you think he's gonna resent her for it?
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Okay,
100%. He's gonna be like, well, you left and then you decided to come back, and then now I'm stuck here. Is exactly the argument they had 2 years later when they broke up. And it's
I agree with you on one level, and I'll say what I mean by that. I think that would be his monologue to the camera.
Yes,
that he would blame her, but I don't think he would mean it.
Really?
I think that so like each one of these breakups that he's obsessed with, it does seem like he blames them, right? At every single one, he's always like, you left me because you wanted this person. You left me because you wanted this person. I think what that's actually rooted in is he thinks he doesn't deserve them to start. I think that he thinks that he's not good enough for anybody, and that's why he does it. So like I think that he'll say that he blames them as sort of a cover for his own feelings of inadequacy, but deep down he thinks that he's just not good enough.
Well, the whole movie is him saying, like, even with the first girlfriend, he's like, no, you rejected me, like from the start, right? Even with the Catherine Zeta-Jones character, I mean, I think the thing with that character is that he wasn't exciting. He wasn't doing anything. He wasn't changing, which is the same problem Laura has. But also that character was too much like him and full of herself. That was the other thing.
I think that those two, so Charlie, the Catherine Zeta-Jones character, and I forget what's the name of the sad sack one? The one that they were just commiserating with each other.
Yeah, like with her, that was a whole other thing.
I think that those are both.
That was Sarah. Yeah, by Lily Taylor.
I think that those are both him. Like this is a way for him to kind of confront his own thing, like because he talks shit all the time. Like he's a pretentious asshole. Like he'll go on and on about these same things, but he's also that sad sack person. These are just like different aspects of his personality brought out. And Charlie leaving him is for Marco is similar to him kind of looking at the girl from the newspaper at the end, right? Like, this is a new glamorous person. This is an exciting person that I'm doing. And he realizes, like, this isn't the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but one thing that they have realized as well is that they've all evolved. Like, they've all changed. They have careers. They've built personalities. Like, they have come into their own. Whereas he is clearly the same dude he was when they originally met him.
Yep.
And I also think that's one of the things that hurts him so much, is that, like, he's mad. Like, he doesn't want to be with Laura right at the beginning because he's like, you've changed. And she's like, of course I have. I have done things. I don't have pink in my hair because I work as a lawyer. Like, sometimes you got to give up small bits to yourself, but she's still, quote unquote, the same person, just evolved, right? Mm-hmm. And he is mad that people are moving on without him or people are changing without him. Mm-hmm. But Laura is like, no, just keep walking with me and we will get there. Like, it's fine. But he's standing still, throwing a tantrum in the street. Like, this is the problem with his character is that, like, he may believe he doesn't deserve it, but then when people tell him what he needs to do so that he doesn't feel like it, he does everything possible to reject what they're saying or refuses to hear what they're saying in general.
Yeah. That's completely right. And like, but it's also like, I also get those feelings. Mm-hmm. Like, I may not yell and scream about there being a flyer for my event that I'm going to have. But at the same time, like, I get, like, he's coming from a place of just pure anxiety all the time. Mm-hmm. And like, I get that feeling in my brain, like that itch I can't scratch or get rid of or whatever, or there's all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of that kind of, like, oh yeah, I get that feeling. Like, it is very much a movie. It's a very male movie. Yes. About male psychology in a very specific way, I think. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but I think that it brings pretty true for, I mean, the negative aspects of my own psychology, and I think a lot of other people's.
Well, I think the thing you have to realize about characters like this, or any person or any character, is they are, if you're being criticized, you are going to do things to defend yourself, right? Whether it is reflection and realizing, oh, maybe they were right and this is how I could change, or, fighting against it or whatever. Because you don't ever want to believe that you are wrong, even if you are wrong. Like, that's just how people's brains work.
Yeah.
So I understand him fighting for himself when he is criticized, but also the way he responds to these things, some of them just don't make sense to me. I'm like, how could you take offense to that? Change your shirt. That's it. Like,
it was a nice sweater.
That's what I
like that sweater. It was not a Cosby sweater. We're not allowed to talk about him.
No. But yeah, like, I mean, it was just like, but he fought at the same level, whether it was change a sweater or get your shit together. Like, those are two very different hills to die on, and he chose to die on every single one.
Well, I mean, it also takes place like days after she left, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this is like, we're looking at him in a really low point of him as a being. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a really interesting movie, because I think you could watch it without really considering any of these things, and it would be enjoyable. You could watch it as pretty much a straight romantic comedy.
Yeah, you can. Mm-hmm.
But then after 7 or 8 watches or whatever, you can kind of go like, this guy's kind of cringy, and I don't think I really like him very much. But I don't think that the movie really lets him off the hook.
No. Well, I think also that happens with a lot of films where they're like, it's a romantic comedy, but it's essentially a character study. And like, especially like John Hughes films and stuff like that, the more you rewatch them, the more you either understand the characters or the characters are lost on you because of how I don't know, how pained they are, how their situation is, or like even more of your own experience gets to be reflected on what they're going through. Like, it's one of those like stages through life things and how characters react, or like, I've been in this situation now. Now I better understand why you did this thing,
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the kind of movie for anybody who's been through a breakup that you want to reflect on things that happened before. You do feel what's wrong with me, you get that. Yeah. But at the same time, some things he does, you're just like, well, I would never do that, that's fucking crazy. Other people are just like, you know what, maybe I should call my exes and be like, what's going on? Or maybe it's like Scott Pilgrim and like a whole bunch of people come and fight you and it's like a video game.
I actually was thinking as I was watching Hot Buzz, like that Scott Pilgrim would be a really good twin movie for High Fidelity. It covers a lot of the same feelings of inadequacy and sort of relationships and like the idea of like that kind of stuff. I was gonna say possessiveness and stuff like that, but I don't know if jealousy is as much of a subject in Scott Pilgrim. I guess sort of, since it's sort of like like stacking up to previous people and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think the jealousy comes from Gideon more than it comes from Scott Pilgrim.
Right.
So Gideon's like the bad guy who puts together the League of Exes. So I think on that side, like the jealousy is definitely there because like you think about it, Gideon goes through all of this stuff to get all these exes to fight Scott because she needs to realize that nobody's better than him and all this kind of stuff, and how we're all end up stuck on certain people. It happens. And and Scott feels inadequate, but he has to go through all this stuff to be like, no, I'm deserving of love. I put myself out there. I should try. And at least at the end of the movie, it's not one of those like, I guess I'll go back to her. It's more of like, no, I fought for you. I actually want to try and make this a thing, and I'm going to try to be a better person. And I think if that is how High Fidelity ended, like him saying, I'm going to try to be better, it would be much more poignant and much more, you would like him a lot more than him saying, I guess I'm going to do this. I'm going to compromise. Sure.
Right. Isn't the end of Scott Pilgrim though that he gains the power of self-respect?
Yeah.
So like it is about him as so it's like, I don't know if he wins her as much as he like wins himself, I guess.
Yeah, no, he doesn't win her. That's not what I'm saying. He does not win her at the end. But what does happen is because he has the power of self-respect, she respects him more and is willing to give him another chance. Right. Whereas with this, he is like, I'm just compromising. I'm currently doing the things she expects me to do. Yeah. Therefore, I'm assuming she's happy. So I guess this is what I will do now.
Right. Like, well, I mean, she shoots him down pretty quick with that kind of stuff. She's like, what are you talking about? Like, you're not a sure bet here, man.
Yeah.
She is a pretty reliable character, as I think, for the most part. Like, she seems to have some self-actualization. That's not just that. I did have one question for you about some stuff that Rob does. And it's the scene with Marie DeSalle.
Okay.
The singer. That he sleeps with.
Yeah.
First of all, did you watch the High Fidelity TV show?
I did not, but I know it's her daughter who plays quote unquote Rob. Which when I saw Lisa Bonet in it, I was like, that makes me uncomfortable somehow right now. Why?
Yeah.
Why is this?
Yeah. Well, it's like you could just be like, so it's their kid?
Like, right? That was like my 20 first years thought. Later,
yeah. It would like kind of work. Anyway, so he sleeps with her, and then he tells the story of how that works, right? And he goes on this story, and we have like quick flashbacks and things like that. And he makes a comment about how he puts on this guise of a person, like a sensitive person, hinting at just below the surface of a sea of misery and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of makes it seem like he was tricking her in some way. But then when I'm watching what's happening and not listening to him, it doesn't seem like this at all. Like it seems like he's actually genuinely connected with this person, or at least this person has the same understanding as he does. Like it doesn't feel like she's put on in any way, like that, or she's been tricked or duped or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they both had a pretty good idea of what this was going to be, and then it went on. But in his soliloquy to the camera, he was he very much paints himself as the bad guy in an interesting way. And that's what kind of made me wonder, like, are these things he's saying about himself as being so horrible, are they actually true? Is that, or is just that how he perceives himself to be?
I think that's how he perceives himself. I think the thing is that most people, when they go on dates or they meet somebody new that they like, they put on a persona.
Yeah.
They do. They're just like, I am trying to put on the best version of myself, which most of us would, I mean, in our minds are thinking, remember not to do this and remember not to do this. Oh, don't forget to do this. No, this is the sexy thing to do. Yeah. Like in your brain, you're thinking all these things. And I think at that point, that's what he's thinking. He's just like, put on this cool guy persona, just chill, be a little mysterious, just pull her in a little bit, because these are the tricks I know work. Right. And I don't think he's being disingenuous in the flashbacks, but in your mind, you are talking yourself through this situation to get from point A to point B.
But I also don't think he's doing the cool guy thing. Like, he's talking about his ex-girlfriend the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And she's talking about her ex-boyfriend the whole time. So, like, it's just like they still both seem to be like, I'm fine with this.
Yeah. Well, I think their relationship is the same thing that they had, that he did with Sarah. Right. Except with Marie, it's one night, whereas with Sarah, it was months, it seems. Right. But I think Marie is more mentally stable and she knows what it is. She's like, we're going to get this out. We're just going to say these things. We're going to have a really hot night. And when she walks away, she knows she's never hearing from him again. She knows that's it.
But also, she's not going to call him either.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, yeah, sure, you'll call me. Bye.
Yeah. Like, I really think in that scene, it's the same kind of stuff going through her head, right? Yeah. Just like, be cool, be chill, laugh at his jokes, be laid back, flip hair for a second, that kind of stuff. And they wanted the same thing. They had the same plan. The transaction is complete and they have gone on their own way, and I think it is trying to show that people still have like a stigma against those kinds of interactions, where what you're seeing on screen, you're like, no, that looks really normal. But in his brain, what he's saying, you're like, that's not right.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I have another question sort of related to that topic. How is John Cusack, the actor, is he cool at this point? Like, I know in the 80s he was like, he was sort of a heartthrob in a way. Like, he had an audience he was a teenage, like, or young adult actor and was handsome and was the romantic lead in a lot of like teenage movies and things like that. Is he beyond that at this point, or is he like still a cool dude?
Nah, he's not cool.
He's not cool.
I don't think he's cool anymore. No.
So that was my criticism of the High Fidelity TV show, is I was just like, how is Zoe Kravitz the sad sack? She's the coolest person ever.
Well, I think at the time with this movie, he was still on that cusp of being cool. Like, this is around the same time he did like Grosse Pointe Blank and, like all that kind of like, I'm an adult now, but I'm a cool adult. And, I do things outside of the norm, blah, blah, blah. And I'm still fit. And I didn't do, 2012 and like room 14, whatever, and all that kind of cheesiness as yet. But I think he has kind of just evolved into, I mean, he's not quite at the level of Nick Cage crazy, but like, you know that area where like they just do stuff to do stuff, but nobody is as prevalent as Nick Cage. Definitely not. But like he's definitely not cool anymore. But that also doesn't mean he's like a bad actor or anything.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I know what you mean. But I mean that I've just because like I never really I wasn't as aware of him as like a heartthrobby guy at any point in my life because I was born in the late 80s. So I don't have that perception of him. So he was always just like an adult guy to me and kind of like a floppy, like kind of like a hangdog kind of dude. So like when he does the like, you may be wondering how how I am become the number one lover man on my district or whatever. And like that makes sense that it needed to be explained. But then when Zoe Kravitz does it, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You're Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah. like she may be a person that has like issues, but there's no way you're like, you have to explain to me why everybody's in love with you. Like,
why like how you are successful with men. Like I understand you're super cool.
Yeah, we
like
see
you, we
awesome. See you. Like that's it, you know. But that's like Marie in this too. Like you see her, and there's no questioning. She's cool, and like everybody in the bar when she's singing the stupidest song. But everybody in the bar is transfixed because you're just like, you're cool. I can't not look at this. Like this is cool, you know.
And she has exactly the same vibe. It is really quite astounding to watch. Zoe Kravitz and having known this movie, and you're just like, she's just like her mom. The club they go to in that show is called DeSalle's, by the way.
Oh, is it? Oh, so that it was her club.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh,
yeah. So it's sort of a little nod for the old fans.
Yeah,
I didn't love the TV show, by the way. It had some weird things. First of all, it takes place a year after they break up.
Oh, that's too far.
Right? It changes the context a lot.
Wait, so what else didn't you like about it, just besides the time period change?
I think that was it. I think that I also think that she was worse to men in that show than Rob is to women in this movie.
Oh.
Like I feel like she really jerks some people around in kind of a way that's like he is callous towards other people, but I don't know how callous he is in his actions. Like he's very callous in his attitude and the way he speaks about them to the camera, but he doesn't really affect other people's lives as much as others do. So like she'll actually like take advantage of people.
Oh.
And like this guy that she sleeps with, she'll kind of like pull him along for a while, even though she's obsessed with her ex still. And it's kind of not cool. And like, I know that he's not cool in this, and it's I don't really want to defend him as a character, nor do I want to defend any sort of feelings that I associate like I've had alongside with him. Like I go ugh, because I don't really like those memories in myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I feel like his deficits of a character is more internal, and that we're only seeing it because of the level of depth that we get into his psychology in the movie, rather than watching them from the third person and seeing what they're doing in the real world.
So I think this possibly goes back to our discussion about the book, where we think in the book there might be more callous and more mean.
Yeah.
And maybe the TV show takes more from the book than the movie did. So that might be part of it, or it could just be that people are meaner and they're just like, let's make them meaner. Let's have her be hated for whatever reason.
Well, I mean, maybe it's that because she's so cool, we would be on her side so much more
easily.
Yeah. So like it would be much easier for us to gravitate towards her as a person because she's so cool. So maybe they amp up the negatives so that we have a similar reaction. Maybe that was it.
Oh, that's true. That's probably a good thing. Yeah. Yeah, because like even automatically you're just like, I don't you don't have to explain your coolness. Like, we see it already, but they have to highly show why she would be overly rejected at the same time. Because, I mean, it's scientifically proven, if you're pretty, you get more, and people put up with more. So she's got to be like outwardly mean to be rejected.
One thing I did like about the show is that instead of the character of Dick, the bald guy, it's she actually dated one of her exes on the list is actually is that character, who then came out as gay after they dated. And there's an episode just dedicated to him where he is the first person narrator, or second person, I guess, because he's talking to the camera. But that one was really good. That was a really interesting and unique episode, rather than the rest of it, which was kind of rehashing things.
Stuff, yeah.
One episode of the TV show actually was just one of the deleted scenes in this movie.
What?
Have you watched the deleted scenes from this?
No, I didn't. No.
So there's a scene that's in the movie where he's on the phone at the beginning of the scene and hangs up. So he goes like something like, "Okay, yeah, I'll come soon. I'll see you. Bye." And he hangs up. And then he does the whole scene, and then it goes on, and that's never explained or whatever. What that was is a woman selling her husband's record collection.
Okay.
So he goes to her house, and he has this amazing collection of 45s where there's like Sex Pistols, like original 7 inches, and like Elvis ones, and all these old Delta Blues things that are just ridiculous and impossible to find. And she's selling her husband's records out of revenge because he ran away with another woman.
Jesus. Yeah.
So the scene is him like, I can't possibly do that to somebody else. I can't buy somebody. So she was going to be like, I'll give it all to you for $1 or something.
Jesus.
And he's like, no, I can't do it. So it's like, it's a funny scene because it's like somebody who, like, it's opposites doing to, like, I'll give you like 6,000. She's like, I can't take a penny over more $20. And it's so like, and that's a whole episode of the show, which was an odd choice, and it's an odd episode. I mean, it has aspects. I watched it. It was fine, but it didn't do the same thing as the movie did for me.
Maybe it could be because the story is so stretched out in a TV show compared to the compact nature of a movie, that sometimes messages get lost in certain ways, and it's not a concept. I find it's not a concept that needs that much time to tell, whereas like other things do need that time, but maybe it's a fault of the writing, maybe it's a fault of the stories decided to tell. I don't know, it could be a lot of things, but
I mean, it's a fundamentally different storytelling medium. Like it wasn't built as a mini series either. It was built as a series. So like it didn't end. And it was building up stuff in order for it to go a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
And as you would probably tell from watching this movie so many times, that shtick gets a little bit thin.
Gets thin
like,
very quickly. Yeah,
exactly. You're just like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
Please stop talking to her. You need a clean break, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's but yeah, that was my thing about the show, is like, I was wondering if John Cusack had a similar kind of reputation at this point in time as like somebody cool.
I really don't think so. Like when people talk about the coolness of John Cusack, they think of like Say Anything. Like it's automatically boombox over the head. People are just like, that's John Cusack, and you're just like, no, he's a jowly old man right now, and he does some acting things every once in a while. Like that's what he does, right? I honestly can't even think of the last thing I saw him in.
I don't know either. He sort of shows up in weird things now, I think.
He's in the TV series Utopia.
Okay. I hope he does well. I like John Cusack enough. Like, he's not one of those people that I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, no, he's not. No.
He's sort of someone like, I hope you're okay, man.
That's the last thing I saw him in. Hot Tub Time Machine. Duh.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
That's the last thing I watched him in. Okay.
The rich career of John Cusack. What was the last thing I saw him in? Right. Hot Tub Time Machine.
Well, that's what's the funny thing about him in that is that he plays an older guy who's grumpy as shit, and he was a cool, well, he thought he was a cool kid at
Yeah.
least. Um,
That is sort of goes along with this character, right? Like
it does.
he's like just reminiscing of his past, like as an obsession with his juvenile sexuality.
Mm-hmm. Well, all of the characters in Hot Tub Time Machine are going through that whole thing, including his son, who is, or his, no, it's not his son, it's his nephew. Uh,
But
anyways,
Clark Duke in it.
yeah, yeah. But like all of them are stuck in that phase, and Clark, he's the like the nephew is the only one who's just like, you guys are acting like children, fucking grow up. But he also can't talk to a person in person, so you're just like, I don't know whose side we're taking on in here, but it's still hilarious.
Yeah. So like we've talked about this movie from a very like a psychological point of view, taking very serious looks at the morality and the various positions and things. That being said, it's a funny movie, right?
It is. It
Like I
still
laugh
makes
at
me
that
laugh.
a lot. Yeah.
Like Jack Black doing his crazy guitar thing and like flailing around the
Yeah.
whole time. It's still funny. He does it well. Yeah. I saw a post about Jack Black playing a fake saxophone on like one of the late night shows,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and the comment was like, this is what happens when you put like your character is all charisma. You're like, you know what, it's true. Like, you just enjoy Jack Black no matter what kind of dickish character he's playing. You're just like, you're hilarious and you're doing crazy things and you're funny. But even in movies like School of Rock, you just kind of like, you start off dickish, but you definitely redeem yourself at the end. Like, it's great, it's fun.
That is one of the softest, nicest movies I've ever seen. Like it is such a pleasant movie to watch.
Yeah, School of Rock. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
surprised the first time I like, because I refused to see that in the theater. I was like, this is gonna be stupid. It's a bunch of kids singing. I don't fucking
Yeah.
care. And then I actually like saw it on TV one day, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good.
It's just it. I like the movie a lot. I don't think it's Richard Linklater made it. Who I like a lot. It's sort of outside his thing, but it does have a very soft touch.
Yeah.
And it doesn't like throw anything in your face. And it's just like, you know what? I could spend an hour and a half doing that. Like, just like, it's nice. It's a nice little hug of a movie.
It is. I mean, like, because the kids, what I like about it is usually in a movie like this, the kids are fucking pretentious and obnoxious. And even though they have pretentious, obnoxious kids, they make them likable on a certain level. You know, like you get to understand why they're like this, and like you, by the end of the movie, you're just like, you know what, I like all these kids. These kids are great. They're not precocious, they're not brats, they're not whatever. And the kid who is a brat is brought down a notch in the very nicest way and becomes like a good kid and understanding and all this kind of stuff. And then you have them singing, and it's not a whole bunch of just like, I don't know how to play instruments. It's no, there is joy in music. This is how you do it. You know, like, and he gets them into it right away. And also, because it's Jack Black who's obsessed with music, all of his like, you know, music history talks and all of his stuff about getting them to do it, that's all him doing that stuff. And you're just like, this is amazing. And I love Tenacious D. It's fine.
I never really got much into them.
I must have like I really, really like 4 of their songs. Especially Wonderboy, which is like a epic crescendo of a D&D type adventure, you know. And it's one of those things where it's like you gotta have the pipes for it, you know. It's a great song. And then there's Tribute, which is just hilarious. It's about like these guys fighting, having a musical duel with the devil in the desert, which is also awesome. Then there's the what's the song that Meatloaf sings in the Tenacious D movie at the beginning? That movie's horrendous. Don't watch it. It's really bad. But there are definitely some very funny scenes that you can just get clips of and just watch the clips and you're good to go, you know? So yeah, like there's a few songs, and also like Fuck Me Gently is very offensive, but it's a very funny song. So don't blast it around your parents or anything, but it's a joy every once in a while.
Too late now. The bit that makes me laugh in this movie the hardest, I think, is when they beat up Tim Robbins, and in like John Cusack's like fantasy, like the 3 times. There's 2 things that make me laugh. One is like the first one where he just yells at him, and then he turns away and lights a cigarette and goes, "Dumb motherfucker." That just makes me laugh every time for some reason. And then on the 3rd one where they murder him,
Essentially,
it's right before Dick hits him with the air conditioner, Rob just goes, "Get him, man!" Like,
I love it too. The vision in his head before that is like them stopping him from killing him, and then the last one is like, no, they let me kill him. Like this is allowed.
He's out with the phone.
Oh my god, yeah. There's so many, like, despite the fact that I talked down pretty hard about this movie and how I hate the characters and all this kind of stuff. It's true. Like I watched the movie and I enjoyed watching it. Like I was sitting there getting mad about things, but at the same time I was like,
like when you watch Seinfeld, like what if you watched like a Seinfeld episode, right? Where like you're laughing at their callousness. Like they are terrible people on that show. And that is part of the joke. This one, we just kind of get real deep into it. Like, and it's not always a joke.
Yeah, I think if Seinfeld had that like 4th wall breaking and we actually get into the psyche of like Costanza or some shit,
right,
we would hate them a lot more.
Right.
Yeah. You know.
So I and that's why I think this movie is real neat for that kind of stuff.
Definitely agree. But what do you think is neat about Hot Fuzz?
Hot Fuzz. I saw Hot Fuzz in the theater.
So did I.
Yeah. But it was 2007. So it was my 2nd year of university. It's my 2nd year of living in Toronto. I was a big fan of Shaun of the Dead. And I still am. So this is the 2nd of the Cornetto trilogy.
It is, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that the only reason that it's in this one is because they got free ice cream for the references in Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, and then they brought it back for the 3rd one. And
then they were just like, they're just like, well, we got free ice cream for last time, so let's make sure we mention it.
I still remember when they started calling it the Cornetto trilogy, and I'm like, why the fuck is it what the fuck is a Cornetto? They're like, it's the ice cream. I'm like, the ice cream? And then I rewatched all the movies. I'm like, oh my god, there is a lot of ice cream in these movies. What? And then it just blew my mind.
I don't want to get too far. My last note I have here about Shaun of the Dead, about Hot Fuzz, and it was my biggest laugh at the movie. So I'm going to spoil the movie right now. I'm going to jump to the end, then we'll go back to the beginning because this talks. It's after James Bond gets the spire through his chin.
Oh yeah, that scene is so painful looking.
And he goes, "This hurts so much. I need some ice cream." And in his action movie voice goes, "There's a lot of ice cream at the station." You'll have plenty of ice cream at the station. No. Like it's just such a silly thing.
Yeah,
that they have a lot of ice cream at the police station.
I love the fact that like the ice cream at the beginning comes back at the end, but you got to pay attention to get that full joke.
It's a lot of Chunky Monkey.
Yeah.
There's a lot of monkey references now that I said that out loud.
Yeah.
There's a lot of recurring motifs in this movie, which are really fun. That's mostly what I wrote down.
Okay. Yeah. Well, one thing in this rewatching that I don't know why I hadn't picked up on this before is how they very deftly set up exactly what was going to happen at the end at the beginning of the movie. Because even like going into the hotel where it's like fascist and Haig, and then that comes back to play at the end, or when somebody's like, if you want to be a big cop in a small village, go see the miniature village, blah, blah, blah. That's where they end up at the end. Oh. And like throughout the movie, I realized I'm like, they'd say something like, wait, doesn't that happen at the end of the movie? And then it happened at the end of the movie. And I'm like, wait, but isn't that a thing at the end of the movie? It's at the end of the movie. And I was like, oh my God, they're so good at just like putting all these little tidbits in there that come back, at the end.
As much as like, I think parts of this movie feel like they go off the rails crazily. Like, I know that it was intentional. I know that he did all of this on purpose, and this is his sense of humor. so I don't know if it was a mistake, but it feels less. It feels, for some reason, Shaun of the Dead feels the most grounded in reality to me of the three movies. Like,
I
it seems,
actually agree with you.
isn't that really weird? It's a zombie movie. It's kind of the craziest of all three.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is just like when you get the revolution, the reveal of what's happening, it is crazy. And all that kind of stuff, but it does kind of work like clockwork, even though it feels like it's off the rails. And that, like, everything is a setup punchline.
Yeah, and everything comes back. Like, you need to pay attention to, like, they complain about the swan running around all the time, comes back at the end. Like, it's all of these things that just get put together really neatly, but as well as emphasizing every single trope in an action movie ever in there, from the Michael Bay shots to, like, the rain falling in the battle scene where it's just like a broken pipe instead. Like, it's all of they're wearing their aviators, they've got too much guns on their back. Like, there's all of these things are in here, but in, like, the best way possible. Like, I'm gonna shit on Last Action Hero, despite I love that movie. And Last Action Hero really tried to do that exact same thing, but did it in an immensely different way. That I have grown.
I like that you're prefacing that you're gonna shit on a movie that was like the Yugo of movies. Like, everybody made fun of this movie.
Yeah.
Did that one come back? Did Last Action Hero get like a revitalization? Did everyone's like, you know what? Last Action Hero is pretty good.
That's me.
Is that you?
After years and years and years, like, the first like 3 times I watched that movie, like, this is fucking bullshit. How could they make this movie? What's wrong with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Blah, 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 blah. Bitch, 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 moan, 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 right? And then, like, I didn't watch it for like 10 years or something, and it was on TV, and I watched it, and I was like, that's not as bad as I thought it was. And then every time I rewatch the movie, I'm just like, that's fucking great. Like, this is me now. Like, I like that movie is great. Like, even the whole scene with the to be or not to be, and there's explosions, that whole thing. I realized death is Ian McKellen. I was just like, what? He's in this, It's all that kind of stuff where I'm just like, no, it is beautiful satire. This is perfect. Oh my God. It's got Brother Numsi from The Golden Child. He's got his crazy eye. For what reason? No reason at all,
Well, like, he sort of did a similar thing with True Lies later, right? Like, True Lies is sort of a dissection of action movies, right?
Yeah, but I think it's closer to James Bond than just general action.
Okay.
But the thing is, I think James Cameron is a very smart person, but he's kind of an ass.
No, he's the worst. I hate James Cameron.
Yeah,
you don't have to hold that back on me.
He makes great movies because of his technical ability. And I think that's the reason why, like, True Lies really works. It's just, except for the stupid the plane sequence at the end where it's just like, I know it's a jump jet, but that's not how it works. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, it's none of the physics in that movie make any sense. That is by far my favorite movie of his. I don't think I like any. Oh, I like T2. I like
you gotta love T2. T2 is great.
But so it's probably
you don't
T2
like Aliens?
Nope, I don't like Aliens. Yeah.
Okay.
I like Alien. Alien, I love.
Yeah.
Alien is awesome. Aliens, no, not for me. It was too on the nose. It was too, like, game over. And that's dumb.
I don't know. I love it. Like, I love both of those. Like, those first 2 Alien movies, they're very different in, like, tone, direction, everything about it is very different. But they're on par for me in their quality level, despite their differences.
Yeah, that is definitely most people's thing. But I also went in not liking James Cameron. And, like, I think I'd already seen Avatar by the time I saw Aliens.
Oh yeah, that will ruin it. Avatar exactly. Bullshit.
Exactly. So like, I was just like, you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. Then I pouted.
Yeah. Like, how dare you? Yeah.
But that being said, like, Alien's great. I love Ridley Scott's Alien. That is awesome.
Not his new stuff, but
I didn't see I didn't see Covenant. I didn't hate Prometheus though.
I really dislike Prometheus, and Covenant is just stupid.
Yeah,
it made me so angry.
Did he make Covenant, or is that somebody else?
No, I think he did Covenant as well. Let's have a look.
He has a very strange trajectory. Remember that Matchstick Men, the movie he made with Nicolas Cage?
That's actually a pretty good movie.
It wasn't bad, but it's so odd that that's the director of Alien.
Yeah. Oh, he did do Covenant.
He did do Covenant. Mm-hmm. That's odd. It has a very different tone too.
It does, yeah. But it's just it's all bad. It's just, it makes me angry. Anyways, I keep saying it like, it's gonna make a difference.
But that being said, like I'm not a scholar of action movies. So like where you have me on for Quentin Tarantino episodes because I can really do the like, okay, here's my crazy map with all the red string on it, and I can do all the like, so this movie is 1972 and the blah blah blah. I can't do that as well with action movies. Mm-hmm. So like I know that I don't even know if I've seen Bad Boys 2.
I've seen Bad Boys 2.
I know I watched Bad Boys 1 at least during the pandemic.
Okay, yes.
I might have watched 2 as well. I remember making a comment about one of those movies because I was watching it along with my friend, and I just texted him, "Wives." Like it's one of those ones that's just like, my wife is such a pain.
Oh my god,
like, yes. That's how I remember those movies. That's my only remembering from those movies. I'm like, I gotta get home to my wife.
Yeah. Well, I definitely watched so the third movie was released during the pandemic, and because I watched that, I watched 1 and 2 again. But also I realized I forgot 90% of what those 2 movies were. And they are funny. And yeah, he bitches about his wife all the time, like she's doing something wrong. And I'm like, no, she's your fucking wife.
She's Go just home. At home taking care of your children.
Yeah. And it also reminded me that Tia Leone was a very bad actress originally when she started acting. Right. Oh my god, she's so bad in that movie. Like it's fucking horrendous.
Yeah, I haven't seen her a lot. I haven't seen her doing much lately.
Well, she did.
Was she United States of Terror? Was that?
No, Leone? She did. Madam Secretary on TV.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's what she's been doing the last few years. And I swear, before that, she had done like that one X-Files episode, and before that, she did Deep Impact, and before that, it was Bad Boys 1. Like that's literally all I know of her career.
I think Madam Secretary might be the show that has one of the craziest movie references lines in it. It's like a CBS like procedural, right? Like it's along the lines of like West Wing, like it's all political talking back and forth. Got to stop the bombing and wherever. And I think it was during a walk and talk. Now that you mentioned the West Wing, I think it was an Aaron Sorkin walk and talk, and I think she says. I think this is this show. I think she says, "I want this buried so deep that the Criterion Collection can't find it."
What? like is that them trying to be like witty and be like, I'm part of pop culture, I know things? Like what is that?
I agree. That is what it was. It made me laugh because I'm a dork. I am the guy that they refused to sell the Captain Beefheart record to at High Fidelity. Like I am
you're
the
way
guy
too into it. You're like, exactly. Nah, you don't deserve this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, you're a dork. I am a dork. I know that. So I think that the reference to the Criterion Collection is hilarious. Mm-hmm. But who watching Madam Secretary is like, you guys got him.
Yeah. I personally, to me, I think if I heard that line, like I was watching the show, giving it a chance, and that line came up, I would have laughed and then changed the channel. I'd be like, nope, I can't do this anymore. They're not even trying at this point. I gotta go. Or maybe I would be thinking something along like, it can't get better than this.
Right.
I'd be like, just leave on a high note, just walk away, So oh my god, really? Jeez.
My first note about Hot Fuzz is there is just a cavalcade of British comedians in the first like 5 minutes.
5 minutes, yes.
And it was awesome.
My first note is actually that I think him walking through the door, and that walk is it's one of those things that's a little too long, that it makes you uncomfortable and you start to giggle at it. And I was like, that is fucking perfect.
I think Edgar Wright's biggest like arrow in his quiver is his editing. Mm-hmm. His editing is insanity. But he does that insanity to the point he's trying to make.
Yes.
So like it is like that, like you said, like that is too long. And I'm sure he's watched this 400 times. I'm guessing having anything there is too long for him. So he's just like, this is crazy long that this person's just walking forward.
Yeah. For like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, when you think about it, 10 seconds isn't that long. But when you're just watching somebody walk, you're like, are we doing it? Like, and there's nothing else happening. It seems like the building is empty. Like, there's nothing else happening. It's just the sound of him walking. He opens the door. He takes off his hat. It's under his arm. Like, but you can't even see who it is. And he's just coming forth. And he gets right up to the camera. And you're just like, what? Why was that so long? But why do I suddenly think it's funny?
So that stuff is really long. And then the scene with him in front of the constables.
Oh my God.
So which was Martin Freeman, Steve Coogan, and Bill Nighy.
Bill Nighy, yeah.
That is so fast. Like that is just like joke. Like there is no breathing room in any of that scene. No. Like that scene where two people are sitting across from each other at a desk is cut together like an action movie sequence.
Yeah, they even have like the swoosh sound and everything, you know.
Yeah. Like those scenes are shot as if they are the apex of the action movie. Yeah. With the Michael Bay half-second cuts.
Yeah. I think that's what I like about, because I was watching this video where they they were analyzing Edgar Wright's style of editing, especially showing passages of time and stuff, and how he loves to, instead of like, he does montages, but he picks his montages very specifically. And like, for example, with Simon Pegg going from London to the village, it just doesn't show him really traveling. It shows concepts of travel. So it showed like luggage, it showed a sign, it showed time, it showed another door. And you're like, you're not traveling with him. You have the idea that he has traveled. And until you always subconsciously get those things. You're just like, yeah, he went from here to here. That's all that part's doing, but you don't really think about it. But then it was analyzed and I was just like, that is fucking witty. Oh my God. Because usually most things, it's like they show outside of a window and like the scene going by, or like somebody forlonging somewhere, or whatever, boring stuff, or you're just like, this is great. It's also much faster than the other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. These movies are too clever for their own good.
They are.
I think like it is somebody going like, I'm gonna get one over on them, and it's like but like in a really clever way, like it or like a Monty Python sketch, right? Like there is something to it where it's like there's a very, very smart person wrote this, but on its surface, it's completely nothing. So it is that it's too clever for its own good. Like the concept of it is too big for what they're able to fit into it. Yeah. But you can unpack it in a weird way. Yeah,
like the dead parrot sketch, which always blows my mind as to why is this so funny?
Yeah.
It's just two guys talking about a dead parrot.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I laughing at this? There's no reason for this to be hilarious. Yet, here we are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, there's a lot of like really strange like things that are just like, oh, I get what they're doing. That's funny. It's like that's when you say like, oh, that's funny. Like it's not even something you really laugh at. You're like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, just like, haha.
It's like okay, yeah, no, that's a good joke.
Yeah, yeah. My next note on this movie is, so his Janine, or his ex-girlfriend, I've recently found out that was Cate Blanchett.
Yes, I wrote that down. As well as the person that stabs him, the one that's dressed like Father Christmas. That's Peter Jackson.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did not know that one. I thought I blew my mind with the Cate Blanchett thing. I was like, oh my God, I got a really good one. Yeah. And here you are. Thank you.
I didn't know about the Cate Blanchett one. I think I had known the Peter Jackson one before, but then forgot. I saw it on the Wikipedia page last night.
Oh, okay. So. You did slightly more research.
I did a little bit. I mostly was just, I think I looked up the songs a lot, actually, because we had just come off of High Fidelity. So I was all like, well, what are the songs? There's a bunch of Kink songs in it, which I enjoyed. I think just 2, but that's still quite a bit. But they're both from an album called the Village Green Preservation Society.
That's witty.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's funny.
Yeah. This is going to be our thing now. That's funny. That's funny. That's what it is. Yeah.
That's a good bit. I like that bit. That's a good bit.
The thing about this movie, though, is the jokes are too fast for me to take a lot of notes on them. And B, I kept getting distracted by how much I was enjoying it to take notes.
Yeah.
And then so I have very few notes for this movie, yet I have all of the things to say about how much I like this movie. Yeah.
Oh no, this one will be much more of a like, I don't have any problems liking this one. I like this one all the way. I don't feel like I have to apologize.
Well, it's one of those movies where like these are the good guys, these are the bad guys, and a thing is happening, right? Yeah. It's a ridiculous thing, and there's a lot of very gruesome murders, especially with the steeple falling on the reporter.
That one's rough.
That one's still hard to look at, and the fact that he's still standing, stumbles around, and then falls over, and you're just like, no, yeah. But yeah, no.
It's also like it makes a lot of references to Shaun of the Dead as well, which is strange. One of which, the first one that I noticed, so like Nick Frost is an inebriate when we first meet him, right? Like,
yeah, that my first thought was like, oh, that's his zombie walk.
Exactly, that's exactly what I wrote down. He's doing the zombie walk that he did from the other one. Yeah. As well as there's a lot of stuff that's red getting on people that's not blood.
So what does he say? He's like, it's okay, it's just bolognese.
Yeah, exactly. That great. And then Nick Angel hits the cart guy with a jar of strawberry jam.
Yes.
And that's like that has to be a reference to You've Got Red on You, right?
Yeah.
Which was a motif in Shaun of the Dead, as well as the thing with, you ever taken a shortcut before? And goes over the fences,
which I love, shows up in every movie. Like, all of them.
It's a very odd trilogy of movies.
It is. But I think putting in, like, you definitely don't have to watch one to watch the other in any way, shape, or form. But once you have watched all 3 of them, there's so many nods to previous stuff that makes it funnier. So instead of just going, oh, that's funny, you actually might laugh. So it just makes it it's a little bit better. It's like it's sugar and on top of everything. I like it.
But like, also back to being too clever for its own good. Did you notice all the names of all the people in the town?
Not really.
So I just wrote some of them down. I
noticed Piss Taker, because he actually like outwardly mentions it.
Staker.
Yeah.
There's Reaper, Skinner, Shooter, Staker, Roper, and Hatchet.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
How did I not pick up on that?
Yeah.
That is
everybody in the town. And Merchant is the one that sold refrigerators. And Blower, like a blowhard, was the actor. I forget the other names, but yeah, no, they're all either violent names or descriptions of what they've done.
I bet you when they were writing the script, they're just like, just put him down as Blower for now. He like blowhard. Sure, we'll change it later. And they're like, nah, this works. We'll leave it.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of one of those things, like, you didn't notice. And it's sort of like one of those ones, just like, wait, his name is Skinner? Wait, what's that person's name? The doctor's name was Hatchet? What's happening here? And so I tried to write them down as I went.
Yeah. That's actually a good one to pick up on.
No.
My God.
There was a reference to The Shining that I picked up on this time, which I think was actually pretty obvious, and I was just dumb. But it's when he goes, check in, but you've always been here.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I thought you were my husband.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's he does pepper in stuff the same way that Tarantino does. I'm not sure if it's as direct, though. I don't know. What do you think about that?
No, it's not as direct, because like there are definitely certain things in there that are very direct. Like I said, like the Michael Bay stuff where it's like it's a low angle, sun behind them, and he does like the full turnaround, like that is a Michael Bay shot. That is essential. That's what it's kind of called now, right? Whereas he does a lot of like little homages that they're subtle enough that you're just like, is that from something, or are you just being clever? What are we doing?
I wrote that down about, so when they saw the play, the Romeo and Juliet play.
Yeah, that's the Baz Luhrmann one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I forgot about the Baz Luhrmann one.
It's completely the Baz Luhrmann one. Like the costumes they're wearing,
right.
the set that's like even the drinking, lying down, her shooting stuff in the head, and then the song. That's fully
the song
Baz
is
Luhrmann.
from that?
Yeah.
Okay, that was my question. Is like, why is that song there? It's from that's terrible. Why is that in a real movie? I didn't know that was in that movie.
What are you talking? That was like that is.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, okay. Oh, that explains a lot.
A lot. Explains a lot. What does that mean? I'll say I like Moulin Rouge a lot, but I didn't. I don't think I saw the Romeo and Juliet. I think I was 10. I think when the Romeo and Juliet came out.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, I have. I'll keep the story to myself. It's fine. I will do that story when I get to Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, if you've watched that Romeo and Juliet, as soon as you see their costumes, and like, especially her with like the tiny angel wings,
right,
which they shouldn't actually have on in that scene anyways, if you watch the Baz Luhrmann version, but it's very clearly the costumes from that and the scene from that. And then in the movie, that song isn't used at that point or in that way. Don't get me wrong. It's used much earlier on, but like the soundtrack for that movie, which includes Radiohead, by the way,
right,
is fantastic. And like a lot of the songs from it was a big deal.
Did Radiohead do an original song for that one?
It was what is it? It's just credits at the end of a movie is what it's called.
Okay. Because
I think of a film.
I think that's one of those. That might be on an album though.
It is. It's on. I think it's on OK Computer.
It's on OK Computer. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think that one might have one that's like this was only. Remember when like bands did songs that were only on the soundtrack for a movie?
Yes. Yeah.
Like that Seal song, "Kiss from a Rose," is on the Batman Forever soundtrack. Like that's the album that song is on. Isn't that weird?
Which is weird.
Yeah.
But great song. Don't get me wrong. But
we should watch the music video. It has Batman in it.
Who's the girl? Is it like Nicole Kidman is the one he's saving?
Nicole Kidman is the one in Batman Forever. Yeah.
God, that movie's bad. Anyways. Yeah. Because she's like, she works for like a bank or something. And you're just like, why are you here? What is happening?
Why are you hanging out with Batman?
Yeah. Because I think she originally shows up because somebody robs somewhere and she's like the insurance person. He's like, I'm going to talk to Batman. And you're just like,
that is
what?
The worst plot for a movie. For like the meet cute is that she's an insurance adjuster.
I forget what it is, but it's like, I think the last time I watched it, I was like, is that what she is? Why is she? What? I don't know. Don't hold it against me that I forgot what she's supposed to be.
She's Bruce Wayne's claim adjuster. That's why. That's his romantic interest. Is just she came to reassess the Batcave.
Or is she the one who's the psychiatrist?
Oh,
maybe she's
that might be it. Was she not a? Oh, the journalist was the first movie, right? That's Kim Basinger in Batman.
Yes.
So she's a journalist.
And then the second one is Catwoman, who's
Catwoman. Okay. Yeah. She might be the psychiatrist. No, but isn't the psychiatrist in Batman and Robin with Riddler and stuff? Wouldn't that be the psychologist one?
No, Batman and Robin is the one with Poison Ivy.
Is she the love interest though?
No, she's not the love interest. Who's the love interest in that one? I don't think he has a love interest in that one.
Right.
Like he has he goes to like a party and there's like a model on his shoulder at one point in time, but he spends time trying to save Robin and they're trying to figure out Batgirl.
Yeah, that's the one that's like getting, because there legit was like a Batman and Robin are gay thing. In like not like in like, I know everyone makes jokes about it, but like that was actually a concern in the 60s.
Yeah. Well,
So
because it's a
gave
man
him
and a young boy in a castle together. I don't.
It's weird, for sure. But so they gave them like a family for a period in like the Silver Age. So like I feel like Batman and Robin was getting a little close to like, maybe we need to explain their relationship.
Yeah.
Because like they had nipples on their suits in that one.
For no reason, and that's the only thing people focused on, because they're just like, why are there nipples on that?
Why does Batman need like a molded plastic abs?
Well, it's for protection. But the protection doesn't need nipples. I get the molded abs. It's the nipples that are the real problem. But what was really funny is that then they had a Batgirl suit who had molded boobs. Hers didn't have nipples. And I was like,
that's true.
What? That's, I mean, I'm happy that they didn't have, but at the same time,
me agrees with you.
Yeah. I remember watching that movie and just being so angry in the theater. Like, I fully watched it in the theater, and I was sitting there going, what the fuck is this nonsense? Are you kidding me?
And history will know that as the Free the Bat Nipple movement.
Yes, it was a very important movement.
Yeah.
You gotta say. But even like the Mr. Freeze outfit, his thing had nipples on it too. There wasn't, they didn't close in on it, but it did.
Well, I mean, it's very cold in there.
It's just poking through the suit, what's happening. Yes. Oh my god. But like, one thing I did enjoy about the movie is Schwarzenegger did play a good Mr. Freeze. It's just everything around him was garbage.
Yeah.
Everything.
It was campy. I'm not a huge camp person, although I've come to really enjoy the Batman TV show, the 60s one.
Oh yeah. That's a different level of camp than this 100%. One. Like Batman and Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, essentially what they were told is make it more like the comic books, because these were the first ones. They were good, but they were too dark, you know. And those also had some campiness to it, but it was more, I don't want to say based in reality or anything, but yeah, they were just Tim Burton. He's got a special way of doing things, right? But they're just like, no, make it more like the comic books. There's always like neon lights and people are jumping and saying snappy things like holy sheeted metal Batman. And you're just like, are you fucking kidding me? And then it's like they didn't know where to stop that level. And they just went from point A to triple Z. And you're just like, you've gone too far. And they just couldn't rein it back. It was too late. Yep. Yeah.
And then it swung back pretty hard the other way. But yeah, the 60s Batman show is legit a comedy and really funny.
Yeah, but that's what it was made to be, though. So that was great. Whereas, you know, those Batman movies, it took itself surprisingly silly, like seriously for what it was. Like, it's silliness, but you're just like, no, we're going to be really serious and act. And you're just like,
no. He pulls out a Batman MasterCard. Or no, it was an American Express, I think.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, and you're just like, no.
What? Never leave the Batcave without it, which is a slogan.
Yeah. It's... I do not have a response to any of that. Every time I see that, it just shuts me down, because you're just like, okay.
You already did this one, right? You already got through Batman. There you go.
which was a lot of like, what the fuck were they thinking? Like, it's expected. I'm always still surprised it did not ruin George Clooney's career, but it did ruin Chris O'Donnell and Alicia Silverstone's careers.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah. But Uma Thurman survived as well.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think she was like, I mean, she was doing a big performance, but I don't think it was as embarrassing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Actually, yeah, I would agree with that. Like, her whole thing was just to be sultry and like stand around and go like this and be like, oh, yeah. Darling,
I mean,
you know.
She was playing like a silly character where the other ones were like supposed to be people.
Yes.
Kind of. Yeah.
Kind of, in a way, sort of. Yeah. But yeah, she survived as well. But even like Schwarzenegger's career took a hit after that. But then he came back for a little bit. And now he's not doing that much anymore.
He was the governor of California.
That doesn't count.
By the way, speaking of political things,
yeah.
Did you know? So near the end of this movie, when they're talking about the greater good and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The police chief, Danny's dad, says that they need to make Sanford great again. Did you notice that?
Yeah, but I'm gonna say that has nothing to do with the things that came after it.
Oh, no. I don't think Trump watched this and was like, I've got an idea. No, it was 2007. How crazy is that was so, like, that's his thing.
Yeah. But the fact that you've said it just kind of hurts my heart a little bit. And I'm like, I don't want anything. I don't want anything to do with this. Thanks.
Well, Black Klansman did it like during the time, right?
Yeah.
Like did pretty much the exact same things. Which is like, we need to make it great again.
Yeah.
Like just sort of like as a funny nod to it. But like that works as a funny nod, but way before that would be relevant.
Well, the whole thing with that statement is that like people had a problem with it because it was used by like Nazis and white supremacists before as a statement to, it can be great if it was white, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of people had a problem with it, but a lot of people didn't know the history of a political person using that statement. And so like some people are just like, no, we are going to make America great again because it used to be great. But also, if you think about the statement, has America been that great?
Oh God, no.
Exactly, right?
No, it's not. No, no. I'm not by any means excusing anything like that.
Oh no, but neither am I.
That long ago? Was it used in like 2007 by like white supremacist groups and things?
I don't know, to be honest. Yeah.
I'm just wondering how prescient it was.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I know like Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, like it's clear they do their research when they do stuff like this, and they put a lot of effort into making things the way they are, obviously paying a lot of close attention to details. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of those things where they like looked it up and they're just like, you know, it'd be great if we use this line for somebody who's murdering people so their town stays pretty and wins an award. I think that might work.
Well, I mean, it's then followed by something like an incredibly racist story, right? Like, or him talking about the Romani, is that what it's called? What's the proper term for Roma?
Yeah,
the Roma had moved in, and like going on about that, like that is. What he was saying was super racist.
Yes.
Like it was, and he murdered them for their ethnic background.
Yeah.
So like it definitely applies to the same ethos that it's applied to now, but just 9 years before he ran for president.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the morals of this movie, which I think there actually is a moral, is that like things cannot be perfect. And if things are perfect, there's probably something very wrong. And I think that applies to all things in general. Like, especially like, you know, people complaining like, oh, the street's dirty or this is dirty, blah, blah, blah. But then think of what it takes to have certain things in place or who needs to be there to do it and blah, blah, blah. And then people don't want to do that and things like that. And I think like this movie's them quote unquote hiding everything under the rug, murder everything, throw them in a basement, forget about it. Our town is perfect, you know? And that's why they keep saying it's for the greater good, because it gives them an excuse to keep doing the horrible things that they're doing, right? Because they want to win an award.
I mean, the nativism has been much bigger in the last 7 or 8 years, I guess, post like Obama stuff and the rising of Trump stuff. So like, and I think that it's Europe has been, if not like the same, if not worse, right? Like I just watched the Euro Cup, and they have all this stuff about equal play and all that kind of stuff. They have a similar kind of campaign as sports teams here do, where they're trying to build up equality, but there's a lot of racism in the fan bases. If you watch like the reactions to the final, it was similar.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that has to do with like there's just a general sense of xenophobia in the world right now. And a lot of that has to stem with how connected our world is. So people feel like they're being invaded and they can't stop it, essentially.
Mhm.
And they're like, we're losing our culture, we're losing this, we're losing that, where instead of embracing differences that can expand your mind and blah blah
Mhm.
blah, you don't have to lose your culture, it's up to you, essentially. But
Yeah.
people are just like, no, all of these people are coming and taking stuff away, and
Yeah.
it just goes. I think this is like a cyclical thing that
Mhm.
happens, where it's like there's a new technology or certain people move from one place to another, and all of a sudden they're taking our jobs and they're doing these things and they're polluting the water, and people get up in arms, and
Mhm.
then they realize later on, like, oh, that was kind of stupid, and then something else comes along and they do it again,
Yeah.
essentially. And I think that's what's happening, and with certain dictators and politicians and presidents and whatever, like they have given a voice to those people who are scared again for the wrong reasons, instead of trying to not just you know like make them feel better about themselves, but to be like, hey, why don't we try doing this to make things better. They're just
Yeah.
like they're putting gas on the fire, and they're just like making it blow up, and it gives a lot of people the want to just do whatever they want, like, because that's why like hate crimes have gone up so much in the last little while. And it's Asian people and black people and gay people and trans people, like it's like the numbers have gone up like crazy. And one of the crazy things is like violence against service workers has gone up a great deal.
Yeah.
It's like in stores and shops, but especially in airlines and stuff, where their incident report of passengers doing stuff has gone up something like 1,000% or whatever, in
Yeah.
a time where people aren't even really traveling,
Mhm.
but the few that are traveling
Are
fucking want to fight
whackadooers.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
What is
I think
happening?
there's been fights at a lot of sports games too. I think it's just
Yeah.
like people don't know how to react to other humans anymore.
Yeah, or
Which
something.
seems odd.
Hmm.
But I was gonna say I grew up in Quebec, which has the same kind of protectionist kind of stuff as what we're kind of talking about in this movie. I mean, it's not obviously they're not murdering people, although
Hmm.
I mean, especially for a period, some people did.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yes.
like the FLQ did
Yes.
that kind of stuff. But I mean, yeah, no, I mean it makes my relationship with where I come from rather complicated because they don't like me because of the language I speak and what I represent. I represent an invasion of English culture into their culture, and
Mm.
it's difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's also like, but I kind of like where I'm from and don't really want it to change all that much. So like I understand them trying to want to protect the things that they have, but at the same time they don't like me being there.
Hmm.
So it's a difficult situation with me with that specific kind of thing because it is a small culture as well, and it would
Yeah.
get overtaken by Americans just like Canada does. Canada has um rules about Canadian content on television and our media and things. It's I mean it's a much smaller scale than murdering uh, um traveling nomads.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean it's the idea of protecting a culture in order to pass it along is an interesting subject. I don't necessarily agree with it, as I said.
Hmm.
But I mean, but also like and what you're speaking to is it's sort of a separate note. It's that is similar to like what how racism kind of has always bloomed, right? Like it's always thinking that someone's going to come in and take what you have.
Hmm. Or
Um,
treating people like they are less than you are.
right.
Yeah.
And so like it's the adversity that you're facing is because of outsiders coming in,
Hmm.
which is horrible
Yeah.
and racist and at its truest sense that is what xenophobia is. um so it's yeah, I mean that is sort of what this movie's dealing with, right? Like
It
it's at
is.
its
Yeah.
heart it's dealing with these are white people not wanting others to come in.
Yeah. Or not wanting their town to change. So like
Right.
there's young people, they're gonna loiter, they're gonna want to have fun, they're gonna, yeah, graffiti is really annoying, but you can just wash it off the fucking wall instead of murdering people, you know. Or, you know, the guy who wants to make some money, he's a living statue, you're real mad at that, like tell him to go somewhere else. Like,
the joke where he was in the crypt,
oh, that was so bad.
First of all, I was horrified that they murdered all those kids that were drinking in the bar.
Yes!
Like, that was really surprising. I did not remember that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts over to the living statue guy in the same pose as he was.
He's all perfectly gold. His eyes are wide open. And he's got this stupid look on his face. You're just like, no. You're seeing like decaying bodies and blood and like holes in people, and then you just see this. You're just like, wow. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. No, it was a lot more horrifying than I remember, actually.
Yeah.
Like that scene with the crypt was like, oh my god, they really just like murdered tons of people.
Yeah. Well, because at the beginning of that scene, when he falls through the whatever and he goes into like the caravan,
the camper van, yeah.
But it's like they're old decaying bodies. And you're just like, oh no, they killed those people. But then he walks out and then you see the fresh bodies and you're just like, oh god, they're still killing people. What is, oh my god. Like,
yeah, there's been a bunch of ones we didn't know about.
Yeah, right? We're like, you know, we've seen them have an accident, but, you know, the others, you're just like, no, we just murdered them and put them in the basement. We're fine. We're good.
Yeah.
What also surprises me is there are a bunch of kids. Are they their kids, so they're not reporting them missing?
I don't know.
Okay,
that's true. I don't know who those children are supposed to be related to. Here, I didn't think that. I was like, wouldn't that be the people's children?
Yeah, because my first thought was like, where are these kids' parents? Didn't something come across the line saying like people are calling in about hedges being cut and birds going missing, but you know, my 16-year-old son has been missing for a week. I don't know what happened.
He went to the pub and then never came back.
Yeah. Like what?
I looked at the pub, he wasn't there. I really do like the reveal though. I mean, maybe we shouldn't talk about all the serious like stuff behind it anymore, because it is pointing to something really awful. But the reveal that it wasn't the big plot that he had like surmised, right? Like it was about this development group and they were going to buy up all the land outside town, and the merchant was going to build a road that would make that land accessible as like a mall. And it's all about gentrification and about like really what the real things would be, like people protecting the small businesses and protecting like that kind of protectionist stuff. But no, it's just that those people were annoying and their house was ugly.
Yeah. Like he's just like, oh yeah, but you know, he had a really ugly hedge outside and you know, he refused to cut it down, so he murdered him. Yeah, but what about this person? Like her laugh was annoying. Oh, okay. Like, but what about the conspiracy about this? Like, that house was a monstrosity. Like, oh, is that why you actually like? True. When you realize like they actually like killed him that way to blow up the house, so it physically wasn't there anymore. You're just like, wait, so you can win the best village award? So it's not really about protecting anything. It's about you won an award for how good you are at something.
He was a terrible actor.
Yeah,
terrible actor.
He was a terrible actor.
And we had semi-professionals waiting in the wings.
What? He was an
extra in Straw Dogs, and she played a cadaver in Prime Suspect.
Yeah. You're like, what?
Which is probably like the funniest British like media references
ever. Yeah.
He was an extra in Straw Dogs.
See, Straw Dogs I know about. The other one I didn't know about, but I was like,
it's like
it's
like
TV.
CSI or whatever, right?
Oh,
like
okay.
It's just I think it's a police procedural.
Okay. I was just like, oh, okay, we're just gonna go with it for the shows. Yay.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I mean, but like Edgar Wright would reference Straw Dogs. He likes those kind of things. Like he's sort of that's a horror movie adjacent thing. Which this movie sort of is too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they definitely hyped up, like it was horror movie gore in a procedural type movie, which, because usually in a procedural type movie, they like the shooting and the violence is intense and crazy, but the blood splatter was a lot. It was definitely
slasher movie violence.
Yes. Yeah.
which I think it kind of reminded me of the violence in Baby Driver.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I did not like because of the violence in it. Actually,
Oh.
it turned me off of it. And then Kevin Spacey.
Oh well, yeah, Kevin Spacey's
which I think we talk about every time I'm here.
Every time we end up with Kevin Spacey, why are we here talking about this man again? Jesus.
Anyway, Michael Jackson.
So Kevin Spacey, Michael Jackson, and Bill Cosby were hanging out in a bar. All the women left, and all the kids came in.
I mean, I would say everybody left at that point.
Just walked out.
I think that covers all the groups.
I think so. Yes,
yeah, right. I think we have the Triforce of sex criminals.
Yeah, and the bartender was like, "We're closed."
Yeah, the joke is Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, and Kevin Spacey walk into a bar, and then the bar shuts down.
Yes, done. That's the whole joke.
Then the building doesn't exist anymore after that. They need to sanitize the block.
Yeah, they couldn't sanitize it; just have to burn it down. Just get rid of all of it.
Burn it with fire.
What makes me mad about that though is like I still listen to Michael Jackson music. I can't not. I
saw a dude wearing a shirt the other day, like a Michael Jackson Thriller shirt, and I kind of went, if you listen to the music, no one has to know about it, right? Like you can let your own private thing.
Yeah,
you're advertising the music on your chest.
Like I have a T-shirt. That like a red T-shirt that has the print on it, like it's the red jacket he's wearing, and I stopped wearing that shirt because I'm just I can't do this.
I saw a girl wearing a Marilyn Manson shirt like a week after that happened,
no.
And I went like, you're making a point.
Yeah. Wait, or is it possible she just doesn't know or understand?
I mean, maybe I don't know. I mean, I guess I pay attention to like music news websites and things, so maybe that would maybe that flew under the radar, but like
I don't want to be one of those people, but there's a lot of people who wear band shirts and stuff, and they don't know who they are, what they are. They're just like, I think it's cool, and they put it on, like it's like a pattern or whatever. Like if
true fans know,
we know the truth.
Criminal,
yes, we know what he did.
I think my Onion headline for that week that I loved was finally my mom and I have the same opinion of Marilyn Manson.
Yes. Yeah, that's about right. Mm-hmm. No. Yeah. Despite his song Beautiful People, he is not a beautiful person. So we will leave that alone.
Yeah, it was sort of one of those sometimes appearances are exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's really sad when you hear things about people and you're just like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. It's like, wasn't that sort of implied?
Yeah, I get it. Like some people, it's a shocker. You're like, what? No. Other people are just like, this is new. What?
Yeah.
No, I thought this was just it.
Well, like people get reevaluated that way, right? Remember like R. Kelly, and I was like, I thought we already knew all that.
Yeah,
like that was something we knew 20 years ago.
Yeah. Like the whole thing with Kim Kardashian being famous is because she got peed on by him. Like it's well, no,
I did not know that.
No, that was Ray J. I got that one wrong.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
I think you're mashing together urban legends.
Yeah, I'm like mashing things together and stuff. But I always like to remind people, like Kim Kardashian is famous because she got peed on by Ray J. Just an FYI, and she was also a lackey to Paris Hilton. It's
that one I kind of knew. I did not know she got peed on.
Apparently it was a whole thing. There's some tape somewhere that somebody did, and people are just like, we're interested in what you do, and you're just like, but why? I don't know.
I know there's like 18 seasons of that reality show.
I have not watched a single episode, but I know way too much about them, despite never watching an episode.
I can almost name them all.
I know there's a Chloe in there.
I think there's a Chris with a K. And a Courtney.
Is Chris the mother?
All of them? Chris is the mother.
The Kenda's the little one.
Kendall.
Kendall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which does, now that I say it, it sounds like a Mattel product.
It's actually a Ken doll.
It's pronounced with the long A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, this is something I never thought I'd be doing on this podcast.
Trying to name all the Kardashians,
yeah,
or their basketball player husbands.
that I don't know. I'm like, was it a black guy? Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
And we veered into jokes I can't.
I can do it. It's okay.
I cannot.
Yeah, talking about jokes we can't make.
Another joke that I actually liked a lot in this movie, and that was another one of the callbacks. I had to write it down.
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember the part where it's like where they're talking about how there's so many more guns in the country? And he goes, every farmer and his mom is packing.
Oh my God, no, I didn't pick up on that before.
Yeah. So then later on in the movie, when Nicholas Angel's running back into town, he comes up to the farmer, and the farmer goes, "Mom!" And she pulls out a shotgun.
Kicks him. See, that's not even the part I was thinking that was referring to.
Yep.
I thought that was, or maybe it's said at that point in time where he goes to the guy who's cut the wrong hedge. And he's like, I have a license for this one. And then they go to the back. I thought that's what that line was referring to.
No, it's literally his mom.
Yeah.
His mom is the one that's packing. You know.
I love the fact that he fully like jumps over and kicks her in the face.
Yeah.
He's like, nope, I don't care how old she is. She's got a gun. She's getting kicked in the face. Done. Full force, both feet over the fence. And then they show her face after, and her nose is clearly broken.
Yeah, her nose is all
blood
broken.
all over it. Yeah. He's like, oh my God, this is intense.
I also find it interesting in this movie that none of the bad guys die.
Yeah, no, there's
a huge shootout, but they're all just injured.
Yeah.
Isn't that an odd choice?
No, but I think that shows the difference between the good guy and the bad guy in this, right? Where the bad guy, he's like, no, to get rid of my problem, I need to murder everyone. Mm-hmm. And the good guy in this, because he's by the book,
right?
His thing is to apprehend and go by the law, right? Yeah. And so to take them down, he needs to protect himself from being murdered, but he's not going to kill anybody. He's just going to stop them from killing him. And I thought that was awesome.
I would think that most of the time in this kind of movie, they would kill them. Like, I mean, they would kill them in a regular action movie, right? Mm-hmm. Like it would be a shootout and people would get blown away, like at the end of Wild Bunch or whatever.
Yeah.
But this one purposefully doesn't. Like, it jumps through hoops not to do that. And you're right, that would be why. But it is interesting. Like usually, and like somebody else that wouldn't have that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of other movies they would just all gotten shot in the face, and that would have been it.
I mean, like
even when he like falls and gets the steeple in his jaw, he would actually got it like through the top of his head, and he would be like dead, you know. Yeah. But I think that's one of the reasons
because that's what happened to the other guy. They got it got it on the top of his head. So like it would work as as a mirror, like, and as quote unquote the justice of the movie. But they go out of their way to make it so that it's not lethal.
But I also think that's one of why I like this kind of thing. But this may also be going like because they're taking so much stuff from like action films and like, you know, superhero things and all that kind of stuff. This may go like the Batman route where it's like, oh, I'll break your arms and break your legs, but I won't kill you.
Right.
You know, it might be one of those things. So it might be like another influence that he's actually like coming on. That's why he's not murdering all of the bad guys.
Right. No. It makes sense that he's by the book and wouldn't do that. It also makes for the fun joke about them all filling out paperwork afterwards.
Yeah. Yes.
And also, like, Olivia Colman is one of the policemen.
As soon as she showed up on screen, I'm like, oh my God, it's her in this?
She's great. I love her all the time. And she's really funny in this movie. Mm-hmm. And every time she makes an inappropriate joke, how everybody laughs is really funny to me. But like, stop everything they're doing and just like have a huge belly laugh at her joke about her being promiscuous.
Yeah. Which she does not care about, which I love, but everybody thinks it's hilarious. Yeah, it's a funny bit.
And the Welshman just says the word that she would be like referring to, like her double entendre. He just says the entendre.
Yeah.
So like she'll make like some reference about being topless at the scene of the scene of the crime where everyone gets decapitated. She makes a joke about being topless.
Yeah.
And then it pans back and the Welshman just goes, tits.
Yeah. Yeah, it's those little bits.
Not even laughing, really.
Like just saying a word, it's fine.
Yeah.
Or like the one where she like hits the girl in the face at the end,
Yeah.
and she's like,
Yep.
"It's about time for some girl on girl."
Yep.
I was like, and
And
everybody's
they
just like,
all stop and sit out
ah,
and laugh.
yeah. But it's great. Like you just
Yeah.
you can't be mad at that. It's thoroughly inappropriate because I love the part where he's like, "Am I going crazy? Why are you people laughing?" But the thing is, every time she tells a joke or somebody tells a joke, you're like, "It's legitimately funny. That's why they're laughing."
I mean, but like I think the movie knows that it's an inappropriate joke, and that's what the joke is, right? Like, I mean, that's what I'm trying to decipher with High Fidelity too. Is like how much does this movie know about itself? And I think that it's the same kind of joke, right? Where the movie isn't like this is how she is. It's like this is a joke that she says, and everyone thinks it's funny, and that's the character choice, right?
Yeah.
It's not that that's actually a funny thing that she's. I mean, it is funny because that's the joke, but it's you know what I mean. Like
but it's thoroughly inappropriate, though. Yeah. Yeah, and there's no reason for her to be making jokes when there's two headless people in a car and their heads are on the ground beside you.
Yeah.
Making a boob joke at that point in time is thoroughly inappropriate, but said boob joke is funny.
Yeah. Well, yeah exactly.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah. So
well, you can't go wrong, I suppose.
How do you rank the three movies of the Cornetto trilogy? The three flavors.
I actually think I rank them in order of the movies, like it's Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz. Yeah. Yep. And people really shit on At World's End. Like a lot of people don't like that movie, but I think that movie is great and hilarious. But it's more so like each movie sort of focuses on a man-child.
Yes.
And him having experience to realize you gotta grow up a little bit. I guess that's what these two movies have in common. Like
there you go.
You know,
Arrested Development.
Yeah, like I spent a lot of time like trying to like type up the intro, and I'm like, what can I say about these? I don't fucking know, whatever. And now after like an hour and a half, 2 hours, I have figured out what it is. Man children.
Yeah, man children. It took talking to me to figure out
what it is. I'm like, what is it about you that helped me? Yeah. But like it's depending on who the man child is.
No.
And how they deal with being that version of themselves and what makes them change. And all of the movies is that there are people who they've known for a long time who are adults around them that make them finally realize they need to be better people. Mm-hmm. So like in Shaun of the Dead, it's like, you know, his mother and his stepfather die. His best friend gets turned into a zombie, but his girlfriend, who's been with him for a long time, is just like, I've decided to believe in you and you're going to do it. And then he finally realized I can do it and he makes it better. And yeah, he still has like, you know, he still wakes up and plays video games in the morning and whatever, but he's cleaning his apartment. A perfectly
reasonable thing to do.
Yes. I have no, like my whole thing is like, people are just like, I don't understand why you play video games all the time. I'm like, what you like to go shopping all the time. Like you know, you want to go sit in a park. It's the same vice. It's the thing that lets you relax. And also, I don't have a problem with that.
We were in quarantine for 1.5 years. This was my time to shine.
Yes.
All you normies.
Yeah.
You guys are having trouble. This is my life.
You're just like, oh, this is how life is supposed to be. What? Yes. And in Hot Fuzz, it's Nick Frost in this one who's like the man child, and he's like, well, technically the first movie, both of them are man children. One dies and is zombified, and one lives and becomes an adult. Where this one, it's like Simon Pegg is the actual adult who's brought in and sort of in his way makes him more of an adult, but also is allowed to realize he can find joy in life as well without taking everything so fucking seriously.
Being able to get out of his own head.
Yeah, right. And then
which is another aspect of High Fidelity as well, right?
That is true. Yes. Yeah, everybody's just in there thinking about themselves. And in At World's End, it's about Nick Frost, who is stuck at being a 17-year-old still, the greatest days of his life, whereas everybody's known since he was a kid and the town he goes to have moved on from him being that age, and he's got to figure out, I mean, it takes an alien invasion to figure out things, but it happens and he ruins the world, but he's just like, nah, I did the right thing. So yeah.
I haven't seen that one in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw it in the theater and I wasn't crazy about it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind revisiting that one. I haven't seen
I
it in a
think I
while.
think that one is more reflective because all of these movies have like certain points in it where there's like, they tell a sad story or, it's like a character development moment and it's a little slow. And I think At World's End focuses more on that has jokes in it than where these ones are jokes and then they throw in those little poignant moments. And I think that's the difference between that one and these other two movies, and why people who like the other two don't like that one as much, because they're just like, nah, it's too touchy feely. It's too much about like that guy trying to commit suicide and being a
Right.
sad sack and
Oh, I
all that
forgot
kind of
about that
stuff.
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And like that part when it's revealed, you're like, oh shit, this is a lot worse than I thought it was.
Yeah.
But even up until that, like from the first, like the start of the movie, it's just like, stop being a fucking child, grow up. Stop being a fucking child, grow up. And then funny things happen and they're just like, fine, we'll get the band together, we'll go have some drinks. But it's a lot of self-reflection through the movie compared to like a bunch of jokes that happen to have some self-reflection in it. So I think that's
Wait,
what it is.
what's that movie where they all come together after a friend commits suicide? Is that The Big Chill?
I think so.
Isn't and that's a and then there's a Big Chill reference in High Fidelity that we watched.
Oh.
Which is them they couldn't forgive a song for being
being in the Big Chill. That's right. Yes.
Chill. Oh right, that's right. Yeah, no, I forgot about that, but it does have another James Bond in it though. So that's fun.
Yes.
Pierce Brosnan's in World End, where Dalton is in that.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, it is the Big Chill.
It is the Big Chill.
That is about, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So yeah, maybe that's sort of a ref on that then. Huh.
Maybe.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But
that's a good summation though. That's a good way to your what you just did was a good way to put these two movies together.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about it before, like I was saying, but
yeah, I think that's a pretty good summation.
Yeah. Any other notes for Hot Fuzz?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. I think your rundown there was pretty much covered. I think everything I needed to say.
Yeah, I think my wheelhouse is action flick, so like this was like in my wheelhouse, and I was like, I can break this down. This is fine. Everything's good. And yeah, I saw all the references to all of the different things and the shooting and the whatever. I did come to the realization that I don't think I've ever watched all of Point Break.
Right.
And I remember that every single time I watch this, and I say to myself, I should watch Point Break, and then I just don't.
And then you just watch Fast and the Furious instead.
Oh God, no! Oh my God, that reminds me. Yesterday on the bus, yeah, I took the bus. This woman was sitting with, I want to assume is her daughter or her granddaughter. Mm-hmm. I couldn't tell really what the relation was, 100%, but they're definitely family. But the older woman was explaining to this younger girl who was maybe like 16, 17, was talking about how awesome the trailer for the recent Fast and Furious is, and she's really excited to watch it. Mm-hmm. And I just sat there going, wait, what? I mean, I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover and everything, but at the same time, even I was just like, no, you're staring your child wrong. Don't.
Yeah. Okay.
But then, hold on. But then the kid was just like, no, I just rewatched all of the other Fast and Furious to prepare to watch this movie. And I was like, no, it's too late. But yes.
So I went to the movies on Friday for the first time.
Well, no, yay going to the movies, but I'm very scared of what you're going to tell me you watched.
I actually saw two movies. I saw Black Widow and then I saw Fast 9 after that.
Yeah, my schedule is so stupid. I haven't been able to see Black Widow yet. It makes me mad.
I had a half day and I actually took it off as a sick day because I went to the dentist in the morning. So I had the afternoon, and Fast 9 was really good. And here's why. Okay, it is. Have you seen, how many of them have you seen?
I have seen the first one and I have seen Hobbs and Shaw.
Okay, so those are
like, don't get me wrong, I have tried to watch a couple of the other ones and have given up. And I remember once I was at my brother's place. He sat me in front of like Fast Five or something.
Yeah.
One of the ones that has like the twist at the end, like somebody comes back from the dead or some
Right.
shit. I don't know. And like we were sitting there watching it, but then he had to leave for some reason. And he's like, "Oh, I'll pause it, or or I'll you want to take it home?" And I was like, "No, I'm good." And I just walked away from it.
So
like it did nothing for me. And I literally sat there the whole thing and went like, why am I looking at this? Got like an hour in. And I'm pretty good at like, even if the movie's shitty, I'm like, I really want to see what the ending is.
Yeah.
Like how, like this is a whole bunch of crap, but I got to see where it's going. With this, I was just like, nah, I'm good.
The series takes a turn. And I say that because the first 3 are pretty terrible. Okay. And the 4th is also pretty terrible. Yeah. But then the 5th, I mean, strictly speaking, they're all terrible. But the 5th takes its stupidity and ramps it up to a point where it's hilarious. And 9 does that even more.
Okay.
Like,
oh my God.
It is so absurd.
Yeah.
Like what's happening. And the character choices and the lines that they're saying are so funny.
Yeah.
And none of it makes any sense. It's sort of like, you know how like when you watch like the Mission Impossible movies, you watch the first 3 and they have kind of a different tone. They don't really know what they're doing. After that, they take there's a tone shift where it goes so big, where it's so silly but so fun. It does something, and the Fast and Furious does something similar to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Mission Impossible, like the first movie is completely different from every movie that comes after that in Mission Impossible. And like, cause it's like kind of artsy at the same time, the second movie is just pure garbage. Like it just should never be made. Bad. Like it is, you're like, you watch it and you're just like, what were you thinking? This makes no sense. And the third movie, you're just like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And 4 was just like, what the fuck? This is what, and even up until now, like what was the last one? Like, it's the one that had Henry Cavill in it. And
it was Fallout was the last one, right?
Fallout. Yes. Yeah. Fallout. And it is just so big and so ridiculous for no fucking reason. Mm-hmm. But God, you like watching it. You're just like, yes, like, this is good.
There is that level with Fast 9, like, and it's also like there are jokes in it, like 100%. Like they are, and there is a self-awareness to it as well, which is also
like
fun.
I really did enjoy Hobbs and Shaw. I must admit, I actively went out and watched this movie in the theater. It was one of like the last movies I saw in the theater, and then I saw 2 in the theater during the pandemic. But I liked it and I was mad essentially. But
it's
I think
dumb.
It's super dumb, but I think it has more to do with like The Rock and Jason Statham and their like combatants with each other than anything else. But then the thing that kills me is that last sequence in like Samoa or wherever they are. Fucking annoys me. Like that whole last sequence just annoys the shit out of me. But up until that point, you're just like, this is a great like action flick. Like I like all this nonsense.
You mean the part where The Rock holds the 2 giant pieces of chain connected to a truck and a helicopter?
Yep.
Yes. That is so funny. Like what? He's not a superhero. Like,
exactly.
It's but that's the thing. It's like all of these things, it's also become a motif in these movies that cars are like landing pads. Like you can fall from a huge distance and land on a car and you're okay.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make any sense. It's a car.
Yeah, you won't dent the car. It's easy. Nothing happens. And even if it's moving, you can still hit that target just fine. Like, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's just sort of like, wait, what? It's like there was a part where she goes like, how did you know there was going to be a car there? I'm like, that's your question? Is how did you know there was going to be a car and not why aren't we dead anyway?
Yeah. How did we live? Did physics just stop all of a sudden? Like, did we lose gravity and I floated? Like, is there a vacuum that I should know about?
But if you like big, dumb action movies, I would say Fast 9 is definitely that.
Oh, God. Okay. Yep. I can't believe I'm saying this, but you're talking me into like wanting to watch it and it makes me upset.
It's also the second movie I had seen in a theater in a year and a half. Although I didn't like Black Widow very much, so I
Oh.
wasn't that
Oh, I know two other people who
biased.
saw it and they were just like, "Oh, it's really good." And I was like, "All right."
Okay, I yeah, it's fine. I wouldn't argue with anyone that liked it. It
Mm-hmm.
was just something not it was just there was aspects of it that were not to my taste. I
Gotcha.
would say
Okay.
it was I think it was darker than I wanted it to be. I think that was
Oh, yes, yes.
yeah.
Okay. Yes. I, despite not seeing it, I can already think of the aspects that you
Yeah.
might be thinking of.
And
Yes.
it's just
Okay.
like ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's the whole point,
Oh
isn't
no,
it?
that's what I
Because it's
mean.
come up before in the other Marvel stuff, but every time it comes up, it just takes like this very dark tone for a minute,
Yeah.
and then they've got to like make everybody smile again, and you're just like, oh,
Well, that's what I mean. I'm not gonna disagree with someone that liked it. It just wasn't something I wanted from it.
yeah,
That's I think that's fair for everybody.
I
Just
think
like
so.
not for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. But yeah, I definitely have to go get that watched before I it gets spoiled for me
Yeah.
because I hate things being spoiled. And like even with watching Loki and stuff, it comes out
Mhm.
on a Wednesday, which I think is stupid, but people are watching it on Wednesday anyways.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I watch Saturday morning. I wake up,
Hmm.
get my bowl of cereal, put on my shows.
I watched it this morning.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday morning. That's exactly what I did.
Hmm.
And it was great. But 3 days of having to avoid things being spoiled is surprisingly difficult.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's
I
good.
liked Loki though. That was fun.
It was great. It's a lovely adventure and stuff. There's going to be more.
I thought
Um,
the production design was amazing.
it's
Yeah.
beautiful. Like, because I mean, I know, like with WandaVision, they were doing all like the different times and whatever.
Mhm.
So every episode had like a slightly different look. And with Winter Soldier, it's just like high production value. But
Yeah.
with this, like the colors and the feels in each place and like the color palette of all the locations had a very different, a very specific
Mhm.
like color palette that
And they
were,
built all those things, right?
yeah,
Like
which
that's
were
all.
just
These are all unique
intense.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, which is very cool. And also the one where they were going to all the catastrophes and and Armageddons, I think is what they called them, were just so cool. Like you're just
No.
like, what? That's
Yeah.
cool.
No, it was a fun show. I liked it
Yeah,
a
it was
lot.
definitely a fun trip. So I'm looking forward to see. Like I think this starts off the uh Doctor Strange's next movie, the Multiverse of Madness, I think is
Yes.
where it's going.
Yeah. No,
And
Marvel
then
has gone the we there we can do no wrongs. We're just
mhm.
gonna do crazy wrestling stuff from now on. Um
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think they are doing the like we're taking shit from the comic books the right way compared
Mhm.
to, like the Batman stuff from before we were talking about.
Yeah.
So, and I think they have figured out their formula correctly and they're running with it. And hopefully, I mean, I really hope they don't drop the ball, but also this is a lot of superhero stuff and I just can't stop watching it. It's yeah.
It's just fun.
It
Like
is just
it's
fun.
yeah, it's really it does exactly what I want it to do. It
Mhm.
it makes me laugh and have fun for an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Yeah, and like I love the fact that now with this second set coming up, they're focusing on a lot of comic book characters that I know nothing about, so everything about it is just like brand new.
Yeah.
So I get to watch it from like the quote unquote layman's experience from like the earlier stuff where I'm like, oh no, I know tidbits of all of these things, so I can figure it out what they're doing. I'm like, like even with like Iron Man and all that kind of stuff. Guardians of the Galaxy was the only one I didn't know anything about
Mhm.
before now. But like even with like Kang coming up and like all that stuff, like
I
I
didn't know anything
don't
about
know.
him.
Yeah, I don't know anything about them. So I'm just like I'm very interested to see like where they're gonna come from.
Well, I think there's about 18 Marvel projects happening within the next like 18 months. So I think you'll be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think there's what, 2 TV shows and 4 movies before the end of the year, some nonsense.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so all of the things
Yeah.
happening. Yeah, so I mean, if they made Hot Fuzz now, they probably would have had influence from that. Haha,
Yeah.
segue.
Yay.
Yay.
Paul Blart.
Paul Blart. Yeah, no, I definitely thoroughly enjoyed rewatching this movie, which I
Yeah.
realized I haven't watched in a while. And I was like, oh yeah, I do really like these movies. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I don't think I probably hadn't seen it in 10 years.
Yeah. Well, really that no, I don't
No.
think it's that long for me. Maybe like 5,
No.
4, I don't know, something. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Anyway, so any last notes for any of these
No,
movies or
I had
recommendations?
fun. I had fun doing this, and I had fun watching the movie. So I'm a
Yeah.
pleasure as always, Tracy. Thank you.
Yay. It's always a pleasure to have you on. And of course, we're going to be back for some stuff later on this
Yeah.
year. So it's good. Yeah. I hope people enjoy these longer episodes because we dive deep into these ones. Yeah. Well, that's it for Off My Shelf. Until next time, you can follow along on Twitter and Instagram at Oh My Shelf, or you can send an email to ohmyshelf@gmail.com. On the next episode, we will be talking about two perplexing films, Hudson Hawk and I Heart Huckabees. Hope you'll be here to listen.